Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our council presentations. Today is Wednesday, December 17th, and our first one, it is my honor to proclaim for an amazing organization who does great things in the community. They have their 10th annual mariachi program this Saturday. And if you have not seen them perform, the Mexican American Council, their mariachi group is stupendous. So let me come down there and read it. I'll be right. Either the print on these are getting smaller or I'm about to have a birthday. So the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas for 10 years, the Mexican American Council's Homestead Miami Mariachi Conservatory has strengthened the cultural landscape of South Miami-Dade by providing high-quality, tuition-free music education rooted in the rich traditions of mariachi. Established to expand access to the arts for underserved youth, the conservatory has created a rigorous pathway for students to learn, perform, master an art form that is celebrated around the world. What began as a visionary pilot program has evolved into one of the region's most respected cultural education initiatives, shaping the lives of thousands of students and families. Whereas under the artistic direction and leadership of Los Mora Arriaga, the world-renowned mariachi family, the conservatory has elevated artistic standards, cultivated discipline, and instilled cultural pride across the community. Their instruction has produced hundreds of young musicians who perform confidently on professional stages, earn scholarships, pursue higher education opportunities that once seemed out of reach. Through their commitment, students learn far more than music. They learn teamwork, responsibility, confidence, and the power of their heritage. Whereas the conservatory also serves as a cultural bridge, uniting families, community members, and local institutions through mariachi music's universal ability to honor tradition and celebrate identity. Annual showcases, community concerts, and large-scale events, such as Noche de Paz, draw audiences from across Miami-Dade County and highlight the program's transformative impact. These events not only celebrate student achievement, but they reinforce the program's role in preserving an essential cultural art form for future generations to come. By issuing this proclamation, the Office of the Mayor acknowledges a decade of visionary leadership, artistic mastery, and community impact. Recognizing the Homestead Miami Mariachi Conservatory's 10-year anniversary elevates the work that the Mexican American Council honors, and they honor the contributions of Los Mora Arriaga and celebrate the thousands of students whose lives have been transformed through music, culture, and opportunity. Therefore, our Mayor, Stephen D. Losner, by the authority vested in him, does hereby proclaim Mexican American Council Month in Homestead this December. We have a representative from MAC. Who will present the Gaza family and Arriaga family on this Saturday. If you'd like to say a few words.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, city staff, and members of the public. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, our founders, Cipriano and Maria Garza, are not able to be here today. Mr. Cipriano is a little under the weather, so I'm going to be here accepting this in their place. My name is Jose Gonzalez. I'm the Director of Operations and Strategic Initiatives for the Mexican American Council. I'm honored here to represent the organization and accept this proclamation. representing 10 decades of our Homestead Miami Mariachi Conservatory, and our talented instructors, Los Morariaga. So we want to thank you for providing this proclamation and celebrating the impact of our organizations uplifting youth and arts and culture in the community. Thank you so much.
We have more amazing organizations and people to honor and acknowledge tonight. Next, we have Councilwoman Avila.
I also have proclamations to present to some quite very inspirational and loving people of our community who really devote so much from their time, their profession, from their personal lives to give back. And they have not stopped giving back for many, many years. The first proclamation that I will be presenting will be for Dr. Linda Fagan and retired Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Simons. So please come join me at the podium. And you'll be receiving this on her behalf? Thank you. Oh, thank you for being here tonight. So before I read the proclamations, I'd like to take a moment to recognize each of them. Dr. Fagan is a longtime Homestead resident whose service to our community spans medicine, philanthropy, and the arts. For more than 5 decades, Dr. Fagan has cared for generations of Southgate families while also dedicating her time and leadership to strengthening our community beyond the exam room. She is widely known for founding the Homestead Community Thanksgiving Meal Distribution, which started 25 years ago, a tradition rooted in compassion that has grown into one of our city's most meaningful acts of service. In addition, Dr. Fagan has played an important role in preserving Homestead's cultural identity through her leadership with the Friends of the Historic Seminole Theater, helping to ensure this cherished landmark continues to serve future generations. So it is an honor to recognize her extraordinary commitment to the people and the spirit of Homestead. In addition, we have Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Simons. And she is a leader whose life reflects dedicated service to both our nation and our community. Through her military career at Homestead Air Reserve Base, Wanda supported service members and her families through compassion, leadership, and an unwavering sense of duty. Alongside her late husband, Anthony Simons, she played a vital role in expanding the Homestead Community Thanksgiving Meal Distribution, ensuring military families and veterans were never overlooked during the holidays. And following Anthony's passing, Wanda continued that shared legacy with strength and grace, remaining deeply involved in the tradition of service that brings our community together. So again, it is my honor to recognize her as well. Thank you. You're welcome. So the proclamations. Yes. This proclamation is presented to Dr. Linda Fagan, who has been a respected medical professional and dedicated resident of the great city of Homestead since 1972, offering compassionate care to generations of families. 25 years ago, Dr. Fagan identified a need among her low-income patients during the Thanksgiving season and with the help of late Uncle Tommy of Torbert Sr., and began a humble tradition of providing holiday meals, starting with just 20 complete meals to ensure local families could gather around a table with dignity and hope. And whereas this act of kindness sparked a community movement, eventually attracting the support of local teacher and social worker Anthony Simons, and giving rise to an annual service initiative that has grown into one of the region's most heartfelt traditions. And whereas under Dr. Fagan's steady leadership, the Homestead Community Thanksgiving meal distribution has expanded far beyond its original vision, embracing families, veterans, and military service members, and uniting farms, civic groups, volunteers, and local businesses in the shared commitment to serving those in need. And in 2025 alone, this initiative provided 220 complete meal packages with turkeys and all the fixings, distributed 250 turkeys and 300 pies, and supported 130 families from the Homestead Air Reserve Base, 50 families from the Redland Middle and the Redland Elementary Schools, and veterans across the American Legion and VFW. And the partnerships fostered through this program, including Farm Share, Torbert Farms, Samia Curcio Farms, local service clubs, business owners, community leaders, and the Military Affairs Council, demonstrate the enduring impact of Dr. Fagan's vision and her unwavering devotion to serving our community. And whereas the City of Homestead recognizes Dr. Fagan for 25 years of compassion leadership, community service, and advocacy for families across Homestead and South Dade, therefore, Stephen D. Losner, Mayor and Council, and the authority vested in him as Mayor of the City of Homestead hereby proclaim December 2025 as the 25th anniversary of the Homestead Community Thanksgiving Meal Distribution in Homestead. And similarly, but I want to read the details specific for Ms. Wanda Simons. Retired Senior Master Sergeant Wanda Simons served the Homestead community and the Homestead Air Reserve Base with distinction, compassion, and unwavering commitment throughout her professional and civic life. And whereas together with her late husband, educator, and social worker Anthony Simons, retired Senior Master Sergeant Simons played a pivotal role in expanding the Homestead Thanksgiving distribution and extending its reach to families, veterans, and military service. Her unique perspective as a military leader and spouse allowed this initiative to grow into a vital annual support system for military families, particularly those stationed at the Homestead Air Reserve Base, ensuring that no family serving our nation would be overlooked during the holiday season. And following the passing of her husband, Senior Master Sergeant Simons continued this shared legacy by working hand in hand with Dr. Fagan. In 2025, as mentioned, the efforts continued. And so we recognize her for her 25 years as well serving the City of Homestead. So this is presented to you. You're welcome. I'd like to invite the family and the friends and the supporters of Dr. Linda and Wanda Simons to please come up for the picture, and we'll give the floor to these ladies for a few words. Please come up, yes? Dr. Fagan.
Do I have 3 minutes?
Yes.
Is it? I have 3 minutes. Will your alarm go off? I get 4 minutes. 4 minutes?
And members of the MAC,
Okay.
please come up.
There are a lot more people that are involved in this and have been involved in this since the year 2000. It's my honor to be able to say that I couldn't complete this without them. I'm humbled by it. I'm humbled that we're able to serve the military. I'm humbled that we're able to serve the needy. I wish we could do a lot more. But these special people like Curcio Farms and Five Brothers and the Torbert family and Steve Hamilton, Wanda Simons, St. John's, Vice Mayor Jennifer Bailey, Council Larry Roth, Councilwoman Erica Avila, Councilwoman Kim Konski, Councilman Clemente Cannibal, Women's Club of Homestead, Mama Mia's, Cindy and Timmy House, Greg and Lori Case, Dennis Maytan from Farm Share, Mayor Jeff Porter, Ron Hyde, Bruce Rubble, Military Affairs Council, Michael Lamb, Sir Optimist of Homestead, Dennis Berry, Robin, Adrian Griffith, Seminole Theater, Eddie, Jesse, EJ, Ella, Jalen, Archer, and Nancy, Madison, and Harrison Jelinski. I'd like to say that probably the kindest man in the whole world was Anthony Simons. The man came to my door after we took in an African-American young man in 1994 who had no place to live, no home. Anthony was a social worker who, through his efforts, helped him get money and his needs to succeed in life. He was one of the kindest men I've ever met in my life. I had 4 brothers. Out of those 4 brothers, none of them are still alive. I can say that Anthony Simons was a brother. I can say that Dennis Maytan is a brother. I can say that Jeff Porter's a brother. I can say that Tommy Torbert and his family are family to me. There are so many families in this community, and I didn't grow up in this community, but my children did, that have extended themselves beyond belief. And I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate what they did and how they did and when they did it for this community and every year that we do this project. Thank you so much.
Good evening, to piggyback off of Linda Fagan, my dad. He made sure every year he was there to make sure every family got a basket alongside with my mom. In the late of his passing, my mom never stopped. She kept doing it and kept going. And thank you, Linda. Thank you, everyone who considered this proclamation for the both of them. I'm sorry my mom was unavailable. She had something else to do, and I decided as an honor, I'll do it for her. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for feeding our city. And my next proclamation for the evening is going to be for the Kiwanis Santa Claus. Chuck Galitza, please come on down. A community leader whose generosity has brought joy to children here at Homestead and around the world. Through his longtime leadership with Kiwanis Club of Homestead South Dade, his impact has extended far beyond our city. And to his wife, Amelia. And Mrs. Claus, of course. All right, so whereas Charles Chuck Galitza, a devoted member of the Kiwanis Club of Homestead South Dade, has served with distinction as a former Florida Kiwanis governor and Kiwanis International trustee, demonstrating a lifelong commitment to service and the well-being of children. And whereas in 2001, Charles Chuck Galitza began a heartfelt tradition of serving as Santa Claus for children of the ARC, the ARC of South Florida, supporting children with intellectual and development disabilities. And what began with the distribution of 50 gifts has grown into a global mission of generosity. Since 2001, in recognition of his 25th year as Santa Claus, Chuck, alongside with Mrs. Claus Amelia, will distribute approximately 7,000 toys to children in South Florida and an additional 13,000 toys to children in Colombia, Ecuador, the Philippines, Uganda, and Nepal, bringing his lifetime total to more than 150,000 gifts shared with children worldwide. And whereas on Wednesday, December 17th, today, at the Berry Farm in Homestead, approximately 250 children from the ARC of South Florida also received toys during a celebratory event honoring Chuck's remarkable service, including a special police escort and participation by officers from Miami-Dade County, the City of Homestead, and Florida City, symbolizing the community's gratitude and support. And whereas the City of Homestead commends Charles Chuckalitza for his 25 years of extraordinary service, compassion, and dedication to children around the world, and applauds the Kiwanis Club and Kiwanis International for their ongoing mission to improve the lives of children, families, and communities globally. Therefore, Stephen D. Losner, by virtue of the authority vested in him as the mayor of the City of Homestead, hereby proclaims the month of December as Charles Chuckalitza 25 Years of Gift-Giving Month in Homestead.
If I'd known I would have had to speak, I would have prepared that 48-minute speech. On behalf of my family, my Kiwanis family, and my Alta Madison family, I want to say thank you for giving me the time and the commitment to be able to do this year after year with my wife, Amelia. Yes, it started in 2001 when I was using the city Santa suit in a photo shoot that was a Kiwanis fundraiser at the Outlet Mall in Florida City. And Maria Barrios from the ARC met Amelia while I was there taking Polaroids, remember those? And asked her if I would come to the ARC. And at that time, and Michelle and Linda, part of the Little Angels at that time, we committed to doing that with Kiwanis. And that was 50 kids. And it has grown over the years, as you heard. And we continue to do this for no other reason than the kids and the kids at heart, because that's what it's all about, our future. I can't do this without my wife. I can't do this without the help of Kiwanis. I can't do this without the help of my office in Alta Madison. So again, I want to say thank you, and thank you to the city for allowing me to be able to do what I do day after day. Thank you.
Stay here for pictures. Can we have the Kiwanis members here that are representing and the Alta Madison staff and any family and support come up for a picture? You're welcome. My pleasure. Right in front. And I'd like to recognize Janina Carranza, our current club president for the Kiwanis Club of Homestead South Dade. Merry Christmas, Santa. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Charles, Linda, thank you guys so much for your continued impact that you make within the community. The amount of different organizations and people that you have behind you is just such a great, that is the reason that we call ourselves the great city of Homestead. Last but not least, I will pass it over to Councilman Roth.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I got it right, Vice Mayor. I actually didn't catch that. So, we're here, or I'm here tonight, to honor a gentleman who we recently lost. I'm going to ask that Justin please come forward, and Alvin Jacobson's wife and son are here. Please come forward. And normally, I would read this proclamation of condolences, but I think it's more fit that Justin does this, as he had a very strong relationship with Jake, as we all know him. I'll turn this over to you.
Thank you, Councilman. Proclamation of condolences. Councilman Larry Roth and the City of Homestead would like to extend our deepest condolences for the loss of the late Alvin Jake Jacobson. Most remembered for his contributions to the betterment of our city, they'll be remembered for years to come. His passing is a loss, not only for his loved ones, but for the entire community. Whereas Jake was the very definition of a proud United States Marine serving in the Corps from September 1962 to January 1966, and later as a National Guardsman in Indiana. The values of the USMC honor, courage, and commitment were the foundation of his life and the driving force behind his decades of service to veterans and his community. Whereas he dedicated his life to supporting veterans from his roots in Northwest Indiana to the past 20 years in Homestead, Florida. He was especially passionate in ensuring that the World War II veterans received the medals and recognition they deserved. He was passionate about supporting enlisted service members and their families in times of need. As a business owner, he remained deeply involved in service organizations including Kiwanis, Rotary, the Elks, and the VFW, to name just a few. Whereas Jake's honor and recognitions are extensive, but among the most meaningful were Commandant Marine Corps League, Marine of the Year, Indiana President, Kiwanis Northwest Indian Blue Ribbon Committee, Maryville Police Department Honorary Conch, Florida Keys Honorary Commander, 93rd Fighter Squadron, Maco's, Harb, and his proudest affiliation, the Military Affairs Council, Homestead, Florida. Jake's legacy is one of the unwavering service, profound patriotism, and a lifetime dedicated to lifting others. He was a man of deep faith whose greatest joy came from his family. He loved the outdoors, especially the peace and thrill of deep sea fishing in the turquoise waters of the Florida Keys. To those who knew him, he was nothing short of legendary, steadfast, spirited, and full of heart. He will be deeply missed, lovingly remembered, and forever honored. Now, therefore, Stephen Losner, the mayor of the city of Homestead, Florida, do hereby proclaim December 17, 2025 as a day of remembrance for Alvin Jake Jacobson in Homestead. You will be greatly missed, but never forgotten.
Jake was iron steel in our community, especially for our military and for the Military Affairs Council. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with Jake, but every time I saw Jake, he wasn't standing still. He was moving. He was like the Energizer Bunny. It just wouldn't stop moving. And his heart was always in it, always volunteering to help us pick things up, do things, never wanted to sit still. So the energy that he had was infectious, and it was amazing. I'd give you an opportunity to say anything if you wish.
Yes, I would like to. I have to tell you what an honor this is. I know he's looking down from heaven, because usually he'd be giving trophies or awards out, but for him to receive one is really special. So whoever is responsible in this room, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Jake and I were married 60 years and 4 months, and I can honestly tell you, it's been an exciting life. And I'm going to miss him, my family. We're still grieving, but honestly, he loved the MAC. I see all my friends back there, the events, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
On a side note, we just, it's been a tough couple weeks for us, for our family. But the only thing we keep thinking about is Dad's not gone, he's just not here. We figured he shed his body because he could cover more ground. So with that, we carry on. We're deeply humbled. Thank you.
Yeah, it's our honor to honor a man who did so much for our community. And I'd like to invite the MAC, the Military Affairs Council, to come up and take a picture with us as well. You guys came out, you supported him, you loved him, and worked side by side with him daily. And it's just an honor to be able to do this for Jake and his family.
Thank you again to all the amazing organizations and individuals that help make our city great. I would like to acknowledge one moment. We have our former Mayor Porter here with us. Welcome. And thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you all. That concludes the presentation ceremony, and in just a moment, we will convene the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. What tab are you? Do you know what tab?
I think the manager's going to make.
Okay.
You have to do the special call
Yeah,
first, right?
well, we've got CRA and special
And then
calls. But you got 45 minutes, right? It should be fine. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead Community Redevelopment Agency meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, and it is now 6:03 p.m. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Board Member Fletcher? Here. Board Member Cannibal? Here. Board Member Konski? Here. Board Member Avila? Here. Board Member Roth?
Here.
Vice Chairwoman Bailey?
Here.
Chairman Losner?
Here. Thank you. Director Beck, do we have any deletions or deferrals this evening?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, we have before us on tab 1 the minutes of our November 19th meeting. Move approval by Board Member Roth. I heard a second down here by Board Member Fletcher. Is there any further discussion on the minutes of November 19th? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, our next item is tab 2. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Tab 2 is a resolution of the Board of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the allocation of commercial enhancement grant program funds, approving a grant agreement, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Director.
Good evening, Board. Thank you. I'm glad to bring this grant application request to you all. As the Attorney Pearl had stated, this is the Commercial Enhancement Grant, which, as a refresher for you all, or a reminder, this is a grant that is payable upon completion of the project scope of work, the closure of the permits, and the submittal of the invoices. This grant is one that we are recommending to you all as a board an approval for based on two different aspects. One of this being its use as a new cafe and bakery located within the downtown district. It is signed a lease and going into the property that is more commonly known as the Paramount Dance Studio building, which has 3 empty bays facing Chrome Avenue immediately north of and adjacent to Losner Park. The tenants or applicants have signed a lease on the property. The space that they are occupying is roughly 850 square feet, and for those of you that can picture it, it was previously built out as a retail space. So there's simply the flooring, walling, and a restroom. The scope of services or scope of work that they will be doing in this rehabilitation for the cafe use will include the design and MEP, plumbing, electrical, interior build-out. There will be a kitchen area, including grease trap, other associated plumbing, and then finishes, fixtures, I believe some fire separation as well. The total cost of the project, as they are proceeding with their permit process, is I believe at least $100,000 at this point that they will be committing into the overall project. So a substantial investment within this use in this property. We did, as a kind of additional note, send the project overview, which I believe you all have in your package of presentation, out for a fiscal and economic impact assessment. They reviewed the projections that were provided by the applicant and affirmed that they seem to be reasonable, if not slightly conservative, based on the regional market, and that the initial projection was, after stabilization, an initial first-year economic impact or output within downtown of at least $195,000 that would proceed over time. So the first part of our recommendation for approval is based on the use and attracting this within the downtown area as a new cafe and bakery. The second aspect, which I've talked with many of you about, or I think you've heard me say many times, is the need we have to increase the typical Main Street uses within our downtown core. And on Chrome Avenue, that's primarily between, or largely, as I think about this, between Maury and Northwest 4th Street. We're limited in the restaurant and in bar uses that we have right now. We know that while we can look forward in the future to what we will have at Crow Marketplace and what will come with Sac Passe, we will need a greater concentration than that to have the vibrant, dynamic Main Street that we all want and you have in your vision. And we also know that we're fairly limited in the number of spaces that we have available for that within the downtown area. We know that there are no other spaces within this core area that have a commercial kitchen or bar use. And we know that the protections that we had all put in place, or you had put in place as a city council last spring with the approval of SB 180 this summer, have been lifted. So there are folks out there that have non-ideal Main Street uses that are trying to secure these spaces. And with that, I want to acknowledge that as we talk with different property owners, including the owner of this property, Ms. Reynolds, they've been very supportive of the vision that you have and want to be a part of it. And as a CRA, we want to also help where we can. And so I see this very much as also an investment in the targeted uses that we are trying to attract within the downtown area. So that's the overview that I have. I know our applicant, who is also a vice principal and is going to be leaving here shortly for her holiday school presentation or school event, is here, but I'd love to open this for discussion for time purposes and answer any questions you have.
Okay. Board members, any initial questions? So if the applicant's here, I would just like to introduce themselves to us.
Oh, and our property owner, Leanna, is here as well. If you could at least stand and hi.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Board members, questions?
Yeah,
motion?
Let me ask you. We'll motion it. Yeah, obviously the grant is good. And Jared, you weren't in my one-on-one, so when I brought up some topics of interest for the applicant and maybe potentially the property owner as well. The grease trap you're talking about, there was an estimate of price of maybe $26,000 or $27,000. To me, that seems unrealistically low, unless they don't require a grease trap that's in the ground that captures massive amounts of cooking oils and things like that. If it's simply an under the sink type situation, then it would automatically make sense that it was only $26,000. And we had talked about also looking into, and I think with the city manager, we talked about looking into doing it in tandem with them potentially for additional grease traps along the corridor, so it would help with restaurants that want to come in the future. And then the change of use aspect to that piece, and Development Services was in that meeting with me and concurred that there may be a change of use that could delay this process for them as well. So can you talk a little bit about both of those scenarios for me?
Sure. I'll start with the grease trap, which I'm learning much more than I ever anticipated that I would on the different types of grease traps we have, as well as the need and situations in which they're looked at differently. There are multiple types of grease traps based on the projected demand of that restaurant or bar use. I know through the meetings that have been had with our office as well as the applicant and development services, the anticipation, Board Member Roth, is that this would be an under-counter grease trap. The initial estimate, and where we based in our staff report at the time, the $25,000 cap, was initially having a cost estimate of $22,000 for the grease trap. We know that has since gone up, and it is at $28,000 to $29,000. So it is something we're aware of. We're certainly trying to be mindful of the different types and as they apply to the spaces and the size and the use. And so for this one, it is that under-the-counter approach that Development Services has concurred on. As far as the other, looking at how we go broader in Chrome Avenue, I think this board has recognized that this is a challenge we have, and we know in talking with prospective tenants and brokers that is one of the first things they ask, and it is one of the things that we know is comes with a very known upfront cost. How much can depend. I'm hearing, as I'm educating myself on this, we can see a range in the low 20s to the 60s based on the type of use and demand and capacity. What I have also learned, though, is that some of this is really dependent on what that final use is and their projected demand at the time. And so what we had looked at, and I can tell you we looked at it with our own buildings on Chrome Avenue or at Chrome Marketplace, should we look at trying to just do something ahead of this? And in working with both an architect and other folks in the design field, the recommendation is not to do that at this point because we just don't know what that demand will be, right? And there may be situations where with our own property, we could look at combining those and doing one system. So we're aware of it. I think we need to be open to it and make the recommendation that, as you all know, this may be something we just need to look at funding and be prepared for. In terms of the change of use, we know that is at least a 30-day window. We do know that the applicants have been working through all of their plans to be submitting things through plan review and approval. I know that they have applied for the various licenses and started the process on this with, we have the city, we have the county, as well as their state that is waiting on those plans reviews. So all of that, I can say, is in process. In terms of when that final timeline is, I can't answer that yet until the plans have been submitted and reviewed.
Got it. So, I mean, we all want to see these places come in and be extremely successful in the downtown corridor. The Sakpasi restaurant has been, Sakpase, I'm corrected? Okay. Has been trying to get open for a number of years now, right? I don't think they're open yet, are they?
It's a little more than a year they've been working that. I think we're getting close to 18 months and they are not open yet.
Right. So, and we help them out with additional monies as well. So the other thing, I'm just trying to look to the future for this specific bakery. Their Ansel system, their hood systems, are they not going to be as extravagant as a Sakpase would be or a full-blown restaurant?
No, they wouldn't. And it's based on the type of cooking that they do, the size of the facility, the demand and the turnover that they will have. Sakpase, a much larger type of unit, is deep frying and full ovens and baking and whatnot. This will be more of a small baking type kitchen, warming ovens and things of that nature, if I'm correct. So it just simply won't have that level of complexity or cost.
Right, and I'm glad that they're here to hear a little bit of this conversation, because I think most of us can agree that not everybody knows everything going into these types of situations, and delays come up, and I don't want them to get frustrated as they progress through this, and let them know that we will do everything in our power as a municipality to help them get through this process. But there are other entities and agencies that have say pretty much over what we do. So just want to make sure that they're aware of those types of things, and eventually it's going to work out well for them. And I think for the downtown area, just I want to help them as much as we can to get them to where they want to be.
No, I echo that, and want to also give a shout out to our team at the CRA. I don't think that we've ever been as, I don't think that the staff have ever been as proactive in working with prospective businesses. As we've had our first meetings with these folks, we have worked through them in outlining the entire permitting process. I want to give, acknowledgement to Development Services, who has also met with us and the team, mapping out what that flow looks like, preparing to do dry run on the permits, and really, we're all in the same boat. And is, I guess, my echo. We want them to be successful and get in there as quick as they can, knowing there's still a road ahead.
Right. No, I agree. Can't wait. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Board member? Sure.
Thank you, Chair. I am very excited for you all, and I look forward to enjoying coffee and pastelitos or empanadas in your bakery. I do want to make mention that I did have similar concerns, and I do believe, and I asked if this was the first time our CRA was giving a grant like this to a brand new startup business, and I believe that was confirmed. And while I support entrepreneurship, and I am an entrepreneur myself, and I hope and look forward to the success of this business. I want to just make sure that we know that this is a precedence that we'll be setting, okay, and which I'm okay with, if that's the general consensus of the dais. And with regards to the grant itself, if it's not an actual capital improvement to the building and like a subfloor grease trap, it's going to be part of like the ancillary build out. If for some reason there's a change in ownership or a change in business, it doesn't work out, what mechanisms do we have in place to recoup the grant? Or can that grant kind of continue to the next generation of business? And what is the return on this grant? Are they tied to ensuring that they open for a certain period of time at a minimum for certain hours in downtown? Can you help me understand if we're are we being specific with what our expectations are as a result of giving this grant? Thank you.
So all good comments, and I should have wrote all of those down. Do want to acknowledge this is a new business, and historically that is not something that the CRA has funded before. And that is something we had some lengthy discussions in our office about, and what I kept coming back to and my want in supporting this is it's also about the use, right? And while we want them to be successful, it's the ability for us to invest in having another kitchen, cafe type of facility within the downtown area. In terms of the allocation of the grant funds, as we have in the recommendation and now in seeing the updated cost estimates they have, these dollars first go towards that grease trap or other mechanical capital projects. So anything that we are funding as a CRA will be tied to those physical improvements that are going to stay with the building. The grant guidelines that you have, and as they have been approved in the past and as they would apply with this one, then associates a lien on the property for that grant amount. So in this case, while the mechanism for us approving this is with the business owner, the property owner, who is here, will be the one that is acknowledging that there is a lien that will be placed on that property for the first couple of years. So if she does sell that property, at which point then we as the CRA would be repaid those funds. In terms of the assurances and whatnot, we have talked through what this looks like within the downtown. It's operating, and particularly our desire for nighttime and weekend activity in most important. What they have proposed in their application to us are hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and I think 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think we have to be realistic that this is a new business, and I don't want to be too rigid on trying to tie in hours specifically, as we just don't know. So there's some fluidity in there. I try to be the optimist that they're investing a lot more of their money in this than we are, and I hope that they're going to try to comply with that hours as much as they can. But board member, we've not tied specific performance measures to them. I think one of the other things that I perhaps take a slightly more pragmatic view on is that it is a risk, right, in investing, but it's also a risk in any grant we give. And so I'm taking somewhat of that leap of faith and also just what I sense to be the commitment from the owners.
Thank you for those answers. As you mentioned, it is a risk, and we are essentially underwriting, according to their investment chart here, about 25% of their investment costs. So I will do my best to go to your establishment as often as possible and buy as many coffees and empanadas that I can to support the business, but we really need to make sure that we are doing everything we can, promoting, extending the activities that we're doing in Losner Park to the businesses in our downtown, so that they're participating and having an opportunity to be successful and in as many realms as possible, and that you're also advertising in the community to throughout the city to make sure that you continue to be profitable. So I will be supporting this item tonight, and I look forward to. I did want to ask, this particular style grant, this is not coming from the funds that we set aside for trying to attract the larger chain businesses, right? This is specifically for
This is specifically coming from our commercial enhancement grant program. One other add-on I want to point out, Board Member 2, in just in support of the property owners, or I'm sorry, the business owners, is that in the couple of 2 months since we've been working on this, they have started participating in our coffee with the CRAs. We have connected them with the EDC as well as with the Chamber. We have been discussing an informal mentorship program to help new businesses. And we are also starting a kind of business course series that will begin in the first quarter of this year. The first one of that being marketing, right? Promotion. How are we getting the word out and drawing people down here? And they have already expressed their interest to be a part of that. So I do appreciate that and recognize, I think there's a mutual recognition in our need to work together in helping them be successful.
Thank you for bringing that up. That was an item during my briefing about the certification classes that we used to do for small businesses, new and those that want to expand. So I appreciate the CRA taking initiative on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair.
I will second and say best of luck, and thank you to the CRA. And it'll be very nice to see that corner activated again. And coffee has been mentioned many, many times, so we are in need of it there.
Very good. Did you make the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, you did.
So it's your motion. I just want to be clear. I didn't quite hear it as such.
Oh, you said that you moved it and you said yes.
Okay. By the way, okay, council, any public comments on this item? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on the award of this grant.
Board Member Cannibal?
Yes.
Board Member Konski?
Yes.
Board Member Ross?
Yes.
Board Member Avila? Yes. Board Member Fletcher?
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Bailey?
Yes.
Chairman Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Beck?
No, sir, that will be all.
Any public comment with respect to CRA matters? Anyone online with respect to CRA matters for public comment? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn the CRA. Moved by the Vice Chair. I heard a second to my right. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. So as the clerk prepares for the switch over the tapes and move into our next meeting, I know the Vice Mayor has limited time tonight, and I was wondering if logistically, if there's any objection to opening the special call and then immediately recessing it, jumping to the council meeting, opening the council meeting and hearing the mural item, recess the council meeting, and come back to the special call, because I don't know that a discussion of the special call items is not going to eat into all of your available time.
I would. Thank you, but I wouldn't want to make so many changes on you. I'm sorry, but it is my son's
We'll move through
birthday
special
today.
call as quickly as we can.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Clerk ready? Okay. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call to order the special call city council meeting of the city of Homestead. Today is still December 17th, 2025, and it is now 6:25 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Ross? Councilwoman Konski.
Here.
Councilman Cannibal. Councilman Fletcher.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bailey. Mayor Glossner.
Here.
The motion, sorry.
Oh, that too. Come on, the night's not been that long yet. Okay. We have car number 4872, Mr. Pearl, tab 1.
Tab 1 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, establishing a policy prohibiting the expenditure of council discretionary funds by an incumbent officeholder who is a candidate for re-election during the period between Election Day and the date upon which newly elected or re-elected council members are sworn into office, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Councilwoman, your item.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to my colleagues. I am bringing this resolution forward to establish a clear, uniform policy regarding the use of council discretionary funds during the post-election transition period. The purpose is simple: to protect public trust and eliminate the appearance that public funds could be used in any way that relates to an election outcome or transition of office. This policy applies equally to any incumbent council member who appears on the ballot for re-election and temporarily pauses discretionary spending from Election Day until swearing in. Importantly, it does not affect funds that were previously approved by council, contractually obligated or required by law. The resolution is administrative in nature, it's cost neutral, and places implementation with the city manager and finance department to ensure consistency and compliance. At its core, this is about transparency, fairness, and reinforcing public confidence in how we govern, especially during sensitive transition periods. And I respectfully ask for your support of this good governance measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any initial comments from Council? Vice Mayor Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. As someone that was affected by this 8 years ago, I do think that it is good to look this over and just make sure that during that time it is a fair amount that the person leaving the seat potentially is not able to spend the majority of that year's. So, thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Councilman Fletcher.
Yes, thank you. I look forward to supporting this item, but I would offer a small change if we possibly could I know you're specifically asking for the period between the election day and the actual, yeah, but I think we need to go a little bit further. And let's look at this from budget year of October 1, and let's do this proportionately out over a year. So, you know, you're running for office in October, potentially, or transitioning out of office. Why don't we look at taking whatever that budget amount is, and the person outgoing still has the opportunity to spend 1/12 of that budget year during that time frame prior to the election. I just think it makes it another additional housekeeping item that gives a little more, less ambiguity to the finance director, gives them a little more teeth. Your thoughts?
Thank you for that recommendation. I did consider that. I had considered that restricting the spending beyond what I had included in here was teetering into what the privileges of being an incumbent is. But if you're referring to just the October 1 of that budget year of the election cycle, I think that that's fair. 1/12, yeah. I don't see why that would be an issue. I mean, I guess for finance to advise if that makes it harder or not harder.
Right, and if I might, I was thinking along those lines as well, but let's go even further. If someone is definitely leaving office for whatever reason, they should not be able to deplete their successor's fund beginning October 1 budget year. I will tell you that my predecessor largely defeated the mayor's fund. Councilman Cannibal had that same issue. There was the potential issue this time. You've indicated that it happened to you 8 years ago. So I would like us to consider to expand that prohibition to starting October 1, if you're either up for election or definitely leaving office for whatever reason, whether it be resigned to run, up for election, term limited out, whatever you are, that those who are either uncertain as to their future or those who are certain to leave as of the swearing in are limited as to their ability to spend, and I think maybe a proportional amount, because it's not necessarily 4 weeks, it's, 4 weeks and maybe another week, and I'll defer to finance as to what may be the better way to do that, but I think we need to expand it into, uncertainty of being in office.
Whether you're an incumbent or not.
Well, if you're running for election or you can't or you're not running for election
Understood. And
again.
before you answer on that, what I would just clarify is that without seeing what is typically approved at the beginning of a budget year per council, I wouldn't feel comfortable with making a blanket restriction. But if we could include in there a caveat for any traditional or historical or previous approved.
But it's a percentage as to whatever that approved amount would be for the coming fiscal year.
Yeah,
A pro rata or a 1/12, whatever it may be.
So our council budgets are about what, 14,000?
What we would deem discretionary, I think for the mayor, it's like 31,000. For council, it's like 24, 25,000. And if I may, I think the way that the mayor worded it is the way that I would make the recommendation. Anybody coming in who would be turned out or is not going to be reelected, and we know that they won't, that there's a doubt that they can use any money in the future, that's where you want to prorate it. And whether you want to prorate it through the date of the election, or you just want to say 2/12 of that discretionary funds budget, that's the way, because that way you're protecting the funds. So the outgoing person is still using a portion of that budget, but it still leaves for the incoming to basically have the remainder of the year.
And I would like to, sorry to interrupt you, but for the sake of time, I would not mind this provision on the accounts relating to like sponsorships and donations, but the accounts pertaining to communications, public relations, contracts that perhaps would be 1/12 if in nature, that might exceed. How would you break it down per account?
It would be 1/12 because remember, you have the ability of moving funds around between your travel and training, your public relations, and I believe you have another account for hardware and software. It would basically, those collectively, anybody who's coming in and they're either going to be running for election or they're turned out, and you know that they're going to, those would be whose budget would be prorated for that year.
Right. That
After the election, they can use the money on the next day, they can expend everything if they wanted to, but at least that way you're protecting the taxpayers' dollars. Because again, they're under, your oversight to use, but they are the taxpayers' dollars.
Okay, is this having one hearing or two hearings, Matt?
This is it.
This is one hearing. I was comfortable with just the restriction on the 12:01 a.m. I'd like to hear from anyone else.
I think that takes it a step further. I was going to suggest something similar, so we can look at, 365 days in the year, how many days from October 1st to election day.
To swearing in.
And divide it up that way.
Okay.
Well, it would be from October 1, beginning October 1, through, you could call it, election day for purpose of prorating. That, obviously if you're leaving, you shouldn't be able to spend any more than that. And so long as there is uncertainty as to whether you're going to be back, you shouldn't be in a position to be able to spend your successor's money.
Okay, I'll gladly incorporate those recommendations.
And then I had one other issue. I know that, and I believe this happened with respect to the transition over to Councilman Cannibal, that typically there are checks and balances when we request payments, as we do over the year. There are checks and balances through finance as to the appropriateness of those payments. A P card circumvents that. And I would like us to consider limiting, at least for now, during that window that we've established, that the P card should not be used because the amounts charged are not caught until after the fact. That, Councilman Cannibal's successor depleted virtually her account on a P card. So finance never had the opportunity to look at that until the money was gone.
Is there not a mechanism in place for the city manager's office to review P-card expenditure requests? Or perhaps just including a, because I don't have a P-card. I guess that would be through the
None of us do, but
right, so assistants
you have the ability
it.
to send your assistant out to do something.
So
And
I
that's
think
not
yeah.
of record until the monies have been committed.
That makes sense, and I think that implicit in the way that the reso is set up, it includes the P-card expenditure authorization. So it would need to be a communication between the staff and the assistants that any expenses being requested, or checks, or online.
And
So-
that could be through a manager's policy.
Yes, actually, I was going to suggest let that be an internal policy that has to be implemented by the city administration, that based on that period that has been established, that will be established by this legislation, the PCAS are frozen for that period. So no one will charge to the PCAS during that window because you don't catch it till 30 days after. That's when you get your...
It should require authorization. It should
Yes.
be, there should be communication and transparency as to what charges are going on the P-card for that particular incumbent or person in that seat, so that you can tally and confirm that it's not exceeding the 1/12 calculation. I mean, that's where we kind of get into the weeds, where if we do add on these extra restrictions, it makes staff accountable to make sure that it's not being violated. But the goal here is not to eliminate an incumbent's privilege from being able to access their funds while they're in office, as much as it is that on election night, whatever is the determination of that election, different decisions and different intentions come into play, as you guys have expressed. So.
But still, if you're an incumbent and you know your term limit, like Cannonball's situation, a term-limited incumbent, and it could have been done any time during October and through the swearing-in day. That's why, I think that we've kind of talked about that window of opportunity just between Election Day and swearing in is way too narrow.
I'm fine with the October 1
And the pro rata.
and the pro rata. The freezing of the P cards and making, online purchases through the staff as normal being frozen, that is a little extreme. It's more of just an accountability measure.
Okay, so did we have a motion, an initial motion? So a motion as, in line with the discussion tonight.
Okay, I want to clarify, because we've talked around a few things. So the restriction will be imposed upon an incumbent who is running for re-election or termed out or has declined to qualify for the next election.
Yeah.
Right, so you
Or
have...
resigned to run.
Or is it, well,
Yeah.
or resigned to run. So who will not be eligible to serve post-qualifying day, which predates our budget year, so that's fine,
Right.
you'll know in advance. I heard 1/12, I heard 2/12, and then I heard doing it by 365 days, which would all result in a different amount of money. Can we have a consensus on what that pro rata share calculation will be?
I think if you said pro rata, it's a daily basis.
So we're going to go daily?
Yeah.
365 days, bring it back? Okay.
Through whatever date that may be.
Okay, and with respect to the P cards, which are not delineated within the resolution as it was proposed, is it we want to freeze the use of the P cards, or do we want a pre-authorization for the expenditures and allow that just so somebody, but allow administration to monitor before that money is spent? I don't know how frequently those are used in lieu of writing a check.
I don't think that for the purposes of the reso that we need to identify the forms of funds,
Okay.
right? Whether it's, cash, P card, check, cashier's check, management has to work with finance and the people in possession of the P cards to monitor the usage so that it doesn't exceed.
That
the
it
pro rata.
allows you to violate. An outgoing incumbent could violate with a P card.
Well, staff
We don't have those in our hands.
Staff would be
Staff would be
distributed
the
the
one to
policy.
violate the policy.
I said, imagine staff will be advised of the policy.
That'll be managerial policy.
so I want clarity because I haven't gotten direction.
So
on
I guess
that one.
implicit in this, are we directing a managerial policy to be established limiting those P cards for those members who are either not going to be here or their presence is uncertain as of October 1 of an odd year?
Correct. It's going to cover all expenditures, whether it is a 30-day, net 30 pay, CDA, or
Okay.
check.
You have your clarity?
I do. Thank you very much.
All right. Councilman? Fletcher. All right. Further comment? Any public comment? Anyone online? All right, then, if there's nothing further, let's have a roll call vote on that item.
Councilman Cannibal?
Yes.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Bailey? Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carried.
All right, next item, tab 2, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 2 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, adopting a policy clarifying council communication with city employees under Section 3.03 of the City Charter, affirming authority of council to inquire, engage, seek information from city staff in good faith for investigative purposes, clarifying the duty of the city manager to provide pertinent and prudent information to the City Council, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Okay. Councilwoman Avila?
Thank you, Mayor. And this one's going to have a little bit longer of an intro, and I wrote down the thoughts so that it was quick and ready, and in the interest of time. I want to be very clear about what this resolution does and what it does not do. This item is about clarity, transparency, and good governance as well. Homestead operates under a council-manager form of government, and the structure only works when both sides clearly understand their roles. Charter Section 3.03 exists to prevent elected officials from directing day-to-day operations, and I fully support that principle. But that section was never intended to silence council members, prevent legitimate questions, or block good faith engagement with city employees. This resolution simply clarifies 3 important points. First, that asking questions is not interference. Council members must be able to speak with staff or employees, understand programs, investigate constituent concerns, and prepare responsibly for votes, so long as we are not directing employees or interfering with management authority. Second, it establishes clear guardrails. This policy does not allow council members to give orders, influence personal decisions, or manage departments. Those responsibilities remain exactly where they belong with the city manager. Third, it affirms the city manager's professional duty to provide the council with complete, accurate, and pertinent information. We cannot govern responsibly, especially under our newly adopted strategic plan, without reliable access to the facts needed to make informed decisions. This is not a new concept. Many Florida municipalities have adopted similar policies or administrative guidelines to ensure council members can perform oversight while preserving the integrity of the council member structure. This resolution protects everyone. It protects city employees by clearly defining appropriate communication. It protects the city manager by reinforcing operational authority. And it protects the public by ensuring decisions are made with transparency and full information. At the end of the day, residents expect us to ask questions, understand the issues before us, and vote based on facts, not blind trust or limited access. And that is what this policy does. And I respectfully ask for your support, and I'll reserve for rebuttal. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Who would like to kick off the conversation on this item? Okay. Pardon? Councilman Fletcher?
Yes, and thank you, Councilwoman Avila, for bringing this item. So in my previous life, in the private industry, similar additions or similar situations like this would be like a co-employment issue with a subcontractor, is how I see it in my mind. I think we have all the opportunity and quite literally the obligation to be able to ask those questions like you said, provided that we provide notice through the manager's office that we're going to talk to somebody. Not that we get his approval, but we let him know, hey, we're going to engage with your employee X, Y, or Z. I think it's important for the chain of command for him to understand that we're going to ask questions, but that he has the knowledge that we're out there asking those questions as well. Those are just my thoughts for now. Just noodle that around a little bit and tell me what you think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Okay, well, a couple of questions and then a need for clarification. Has this language been vetted with respect to any conflicts with our collective bargaining agreements? Is there potential any entanglements there where, our employees protected by a union bargaining agreement may have protection against this, Mr. Manager? Any review and opining on this by our HR people?
Not yet, because this was routed through the city attorney earlier this week.
Is there any thought that there may be some issues here?
We have a labor attorney from Weiseroda and who handles collective bargaining. So I would highly recommend that Mr. Matt Pearl coordinate with his colleague, Mr. Milton, to see if there's any such issues. But I'm not aware of any such issues until they look at the CBA and tells me.
Okay. All right, that was my first question. Now, when you look at the resolution, the 1, 2, 3rd whereas, the last line, the first word in the last line talks about unobstructed. And I just want us all to be clear or make sure that it's the intent here that it doesn't give any elected official the right to go busting into anyone's office or anyone's workplace or out in the field and begin making inquiry or asking questions. For example, I know that on most Mondays, it's difficult to pop in and see the manager. He's got his standing meetings and, we all need to wait in line. And I know that, Deputy Manager Brown is usually, got her earbuds in and is doing virtual meetings or has a virtual meeting and an in-person meeting going on at the same time. So I want us to be really clear that this is not a license to go interrupt the normal flow of business. And I say that from when the first time I was on council, I remember going in one afternoon to visit with the city manager, and he kind of looked exasperated. And I'm like, well, what's up? He said, oh man, we've got all this financial stuff to deal with. It's budget time. And council person X came in and everything had to stop because that council member wanted to talk about the 10th anniversary of Andrew's celebration when we've got other important things to do. And the manager looked at me and he said, well, Vice Mayor, you don't tell Councilwoman X no. And I don't want any of our staff to ever be in that position, that this is not an all-access anytime card to interrupt the forward motion of our staff. So I wanted to key in on that and kind of share my prior experience that, it can become intrusive. And finally, I wanted some clarity of intent. If you go to section 4A, the section that talks about all of these items are disseminated to all council members concurrently, about halfway down, where it talks about materials of many different sources that are all circulated concurrently. And I get that, let's say, for example, when an appraisal report or an environmental report comes in, everybody wants to have it at the same time. Nobody wants to feel as though somebody had something that they didn't have for days in advance. But as a result of some of our recent legislation, each one of us has the right to create initiatives and work with staff and work with the attorneys to bring legislative packages in, just as you've done here tonight. And this didn't, require a lot of research and compiling of information. But I'm wondering, and I just want to see if your intent was that, let's say, Vice Mayor Bailey, is compiling information on a whole new facet of public art. And we're getting information from other cities, and we're taking inventories of possible buildings. Does this provision, and as the manager and the manager's staff and the attorneys are giving her information, or maybe information is given to her through the manager's office, is it the intent that this provision require that information to be given out piecemeal rather than allowing each one of us to bring in, as I call it, that fully baked conceptual cake? That under those circumstances, when it comes to us as a complete package of initiative, rather than, well, here's what this city does, or here's what that city does, to each member, kind of out of context of our understanding if you're doing a project. So I was really kind of curious as to what the intent was, and to clarify whether or not the dissemination to all council members concurrently would also include when we are working on, and what came to my mind was, a legislative initiative.
To answer your question, Mayor, I think that if it's an item that you are initiating yourself, and it's not necessarily an initiation of the council as a whole, that would be
exempt.
I think it would be exempt unless
I just wanted that clarification of intent. I think I understand.
I'm not trying to micromanage your project.
No.
If it's an item that we're all working on together.
You have the opportunity to bring yours in as a completed, well-formed concept or package of legislation with all of this information that you sought to gather that you could provide to each of us at the time it goes into a workshop or an agenda, versus, as I said, an appraisal, a survey, a study, and I get that. And I'm confident that that's been happening, but I just needed that clarification, and at least from the proposer's intent, I'm okay with that. Council? You good? Okay. Councilman Fletcher?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I kind of read that a little differently. So dissemination of information by the city manager to us, sometimes you hear things earlier than we do. I may hear something earlier than you do, but there may be times where that information needs to be held close to the chest. We're dealing with a long-term or potential long-term project, and it always came back to me, kind of childish, but loose lips sink ships. I like to make sure that if we're dealing with a certain project and there are certain categories of, we say the sale of a property or the lease of a property, that they may not want everybody to know about yet. Maybe they're doing a due diligence with another vendor and they don't want that information to get out yet. That's where I was thinking this was going.
And even our Sports Hub discussions.
Sports Hub, but there's new businesses going out in the Park of Commerce that you may have information on, and the manager may, that we don't. And there's a reason for that, and I get it, but at the same time, I would think that at least looking at the district level, that the council person in that district may need to know about it, and with the caveat that this shouldn't be discussed out loud or disseminated to others. That's my thinking on this. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I think a concern which has been brought up different times is that there are times where something might be discussed with one or two of us and not the entire board. So obviously we have trust in the city manager's office, but then it would not be to discuss it with one or two of us. I wouldn't even agree with it being the person of that district. If it's something that needs to be brought up to one or two of us, it should be something that's brought up to all of us. We obviously can be trusted not to speak of it. We've got cone of silence times, and that could fall within the same lines. I think that's the concern, is that it's not discussed with one or two, but discussed with all or you are holding on to the information until it's ready to be shared with us. Is that more?
I think that we all have
Clear.
to believe that whoever's sitting up here has the responsibility to be professional and not share sensitive information or have that disclosed when it's being shared. But if it's a matter of legislation, and it's pretty specific in here in the exhibit, that if we're going to be expected to make a decision on it, we should be receiving the information. If it's a prospect that's considering, that's not necessarily a confirmation that we're going to be making a decision on something. But if they're making application, they're submitting information to be, heard at a hearing, we should be receiving that information. And this is not to open discussion on any concerns, whether that's happening or now or not, but for future, as we go future, this is the expectation that I think we all had, but now it's at least in writing.
Okay. Anything further?
Just
Roth.
one thought or comment. The nature of stuff being confidential is, I'm okay with that, but to share information that's positive about the city and things that are going on in the city, a lot of times we don't know about that. And this weekend, on Friday, when Deco Drive was here, I wasn't even aware of it. Everybody else was, or others were, but we weren't notified that they're going to be filming in Losner Park doing a live segment. So, I mean, things like that, show me that either I'm not relative anymore, or they forgot to call me and tell me that something's happening, or, same thing with the $22 for the ice skating. I wasn't made really aware of that either. So those are the things I think we need to address as well. I mean, having conversations privately with one or two individuals is fine, but disseminate that information out to us so that we're aware of it. I would have been proud to be standing in Losner Park with Deco Drive being there. Even though I may not have been on camera or said anything, at least I was there to support my colleagues who were there. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion. I've had my questions and concerns addressed. I think we have a motion by Councilwoman Avila. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Councilman Roth. Is there any public comment on this item? Is there? You have someone?
Yes, we have Ramiro online.
All right. Good evening, Ramiro. Go ahead, please, Mr. Orta. Mr. Orta, can you hear us? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? I was on mute.
We can, yes.
All right, excellent. Thank you. Yes, I'm in favor for this resolution because I think the issue that you all are having when it comes to lack of communication to everyone fairly is Kamar Brown. That's your issue in regards to sharing information both with the public and with the council. I've had my issues because I'm still waiting for a couple of follow-up calls, but who's to say that me, as a constituent, goes to a council member, complains of the lack of follow-up from Kamar Brown, and then I ask them, can you follow up with them? But you guys are limiting that because you guys are not allowing people from each department to speak to council members. So, and Mayor Lawson, in regards to your comment, how Kamar Brown is always on her headphones and meetings, she's not. She's on social media. She's in my stories. All right, so you may want to address that too. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orta. Is there any further comment? Is anyone else online? All right, is there anyone in the audience? Okay, I will close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on this item.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, that concludes the formal agenda. Thank you for bringing that. Yeah, no, I'm going to give her an opportunity to speak as to a future matter.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. I have not missed a meeting in a while. Us December babies get overlooked. Happy belated birthday, Leslie. Today, I am walking out on this mural project, which I've been working on for 7 years, but I've also been working on another project for 16 years, and that is my firstborn. Tonight was the only night that we could go have dinner with them, so I want to thank staff for helping so much with this mural process. I think it is going to be an amazing addition to our city. We have thought through the application. We have an amazing organization helping us with the first one, which will be Kicks. If you remember, it got approved in the original sign code at the 25% of a wall. So we are really excited to hopefully be bringing that to you the beginning of February. So I appreciate you all tremendously. I wish you a great good night, and thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I would love your blessing on me adding the Midtown murals. Did you get a chance to brief that?
I did. There was conversation before, do we want to open this up? As long as it's a strategic area where we're not making it too big that it can make an impact, I think it would be great. It is a way to encourage more positivity in the community. It is just the amount of positive things that come from it is pretty endless. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything further for the special call meeting agenda? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And with my apologies to our honor guard, our explorers, and our pastor this evening, we will be opening the regular meeting in just a moment. All right, thank you. Are we good to go? Did you forget the words? Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, December 17th, 2025, and it is now 7:02 p.m. This evening, we'll have the invocation by Pastor Jeremy Alvarado of Ministerio Pentecostal La Roca Eterna, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Cannibal and the Homestead Police Explorers. Please rise. Is his mic on? Welcome, Pastor.
Good evening, everyone. If I can invite you all to close your eyes and bow your heads as we pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with grateful hearts. Thank you for the city of Homestead, for its people, for its opportunity to serve our community. Your word reminds us that blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and that wisdom comes from you and you alone. We ask for your presence to guide us over this council meeting. Grant our elected officials and city leaders discernment, humility, and unity as they deliberate on matters that affect the lives of many. May every decision be guided by integrity, justice, and compassion. Lord, we pray for peace within our city and protection over our families and hope for these facing hardship. Help us to lead with servant hearts, seeking the common good and showing respect to one another even when opinions differ. We ask you to bless the work of our hands today and to direct our steps in ways that honor you and serve the community well. We offer this prayer in the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. So let's have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila. Here. Councilman Roth.
Here.
Councilman Fletcher.
Here.
Councilwoman Konski. Here. Councilman Cannibal. Here. Vice Mayor Bailey. Mayor Losner.
Here. Okay, thank you. All right, I'll now open the floor for public comments. Each individual will have 3 minutes to speak. We will first invite those to come forward who have pre-registered. We only have one. I don't see him here. Mr. Verdier from Keysgate Charter School. Am I? Okay. Guess I missed him. Well, and his issue, I'll be happy to, if someone will remind me quickly under my business tonight, we'll do an update on their issue. Okay. Is there anyone else wishing to make a general public comment? Anyone in the audience? Anyone online? Do we have? Go ahead.
Yeah, Ramiro.
Go ahead. Are you there?
Yeah, hello, it's me again. It's Romero Horta, 2040 Southeast 19th Street. I just want to inform Chief Knapp that his social media specialist, Nolan, is online erasing comments. I just need Chief Knapp to inform Nolan that that's illegal. And I gave him 24 hours to put that comment back, but he has not. So I'm going to go ahead and request a public record to inspect that he says that he archived it instead of deleting it. But he needs to be informed that that's illegal and he can't do that.
Okay. Does that conclude your comments, Mr. Orta?
That is it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night. Any further public comments, either online or in person? Hearing none, I will close the public comment section of the agenda. Mr. Manager, do we have any additions, deletions, or deferrals this evening?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Car item 4793, that's tab number 6. The administration would like to defer this item to the January council meeting.
Okay, do we have a motion to defer tab 6? Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, does that conclude, Mr. Manager? Anything further?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right. So that takes us to addendum 1, car number 4867. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Addendum 1 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the final trolley route alignments and stop locations, authorizing the transmission of the report and recommendations to Miami-Dade County, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Manager?
So, Mr. Mayor and Council, several months ago, we had brought this item to Council in order to improve ridership and operational efficiency. The city retained the services of a consultant, Kimley Horn, and they've successfully developed an updated, revised trolley master plan with trolley routes, updated and enhanced, as well as the location for trolley stops. This has previously been shared with Council, and Council made some suggestions. It has been incorporated, and we shared it with the public. So we are coming back today for the final version for your blessing before it goes to the county, Miami-Dade County, for approval. I'm asking the Public Works Director with the consultant to walk us through the presentation.
Okay. So
thank you.
Before you begin, I think we missed a procedural step. Let's move to add addendum 1 to the agenda. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to add addendum 1 to the agenda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As the City Manager mentioned, we are coming to you today to get approval for the, hopefully, the final routes and stops that we have developed by way of this process, the trolley efficiency study that we started a few months back. Our consultant, Corinne from Kimley Horn, will be doing the presentation. She'll give you the details of the public workshop.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Corinne Beam with Kimley Horn.
So I'll jump right in, and at the end, we'll have time for questions and discussion if need be. So we'll start with a brief overview of our study timeline, which we'll get into on the next slide shortly. We'll briefly cover the existing trolley system just for reference, get into our original proposed system modifications. As CRA mentioned, we'll cover feedback that we heard from you all back this March and also from our public workshops that took place this fall. We'll go over our final route alignments and then just discuss some next steps in the process of implementing these recommendations, should they be approved or adopted this evening. So a quick overview, we initiated the trolley efficiency study or the trolley master plan in the fall of 2024. From there, we developed 3 proposed route alternatives and some stop modifications throughout the city. And we brought those to council for your all's review and approval this past March. Following that approval, we shared those initial preliminary route adjustments with Miami-Dade County just to get their initial feedback and preliminary approval so that we could then continue with the implementation of those routes and bringing those routes to the public to gather their feedback. Following our public workshops in September and October of this year, we finalized those route alignments, which you'll see towards the end of the presentation, incorporating public feedback as well as feedback from city staff and other stakeholders. And then we're presenting those final routes and stops to you all this evening. So just a quick overview of the existing trolley system. There's 3 routes: the downtown route, the Lucy route, and the Campbell route. The routes range in length from about 7.5 miles to over 10 miles, and their current cycle time, so the time it takes to complete a full loop, if you will, of their route, ranges from 40 to 55 minutes. The routes themselves, they operate during the weekday, Monday through Friday, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. There's also weekend service on Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And additionally, there is the seasonal National Parks trolley route connection that services both national parks from December to April. That wasn't really incorporated into our study, but we do acknowledge it as part of the existing system. So on this slide here in the yellow, those are the existing trolley routes, and the dashed lines are depicting our proposed route alignment changes that we presented back in March. And these are the routes that we took to the public, got some feedback on before refining them for the final alignments that you'll see in a couple of slides. But here we have the western route, the central route, which is currently the Lucy route, and then the proposed eastern route, which is currently the Campbell route. So for public feedback and for public workshops, we hosted 2 hybrid workshops, one on September 30th at Keys Gate Charter School, where we had a presentation on the study itself, as well as the outcome of those 3 alignments and some stop locations, and we opened it up in kind of an open house format to gather feedback from the public and the community, whether they were online or they joined us in person. And we had a similar workshop format that took place at the Michael Williams Community Center on October 15th. Some things that we heard from the community just really focused on providing access to key destinations throughout the city, such as schools, shopping centers, healthcare, and parks, and then really understanding where folks in some of the more residential areas of the city need to access the service in order to get to those key destinations. So from there, these next 3 slides show in a little more detail the route alignments and the proposed stop locations. So for the western route, by and large, the alignment remained pretty similar to the one that we presented back in March, but some key adjustments were made, including ensuring access to community centers, adjusting the route alignment to take advantage of right turns for the vehicle and trying to eliminate the need for left turns just from a safety and efficiency perspective for the service, ensuring there are stops located in proximity to the BRT service that's on the South Dade Transitway to provide access to a regional connection, and just really ensuring that there are stops near schools, parks, and retail destinations. For the central route, this route largely remains quite similar to the existing Lucy route today. There are some additional stops, such as Stop 6, which provides access to the Walmart neighborhood store, and again, just ensuring connection to the BRT service, as well as schools and other community assets. And then lastly, we have the proposed eastern route, which is the current Campbell route. Similar adjustments were made, again, access to the BRT service, providing service to community shopping destinations, for example, the Publix and the Walmart up near stop 11 and 12 in the northeast section of the map there, as well as removing some stops, such as the stops in that area between stop number 7 and stop number 8 along the southern alignment of the route. And then again, just ensuring we could enhance some efficiency by removing the need for left turns where possible. So this slide here really provides a comparison of the existing routes and the proposed service. As you can see, the proposed service, the length of those routes did increase, and that's really to provide additional connection throughout the city to those key destinations from residential areas. Also providing additional overlap between routes to ease like transfer from the central route to the western route or the central route to the eastern route. And again, adding a number of stops to help facilitate that ease and that connection to be able to use the service. So our next steps, following council approval this evening, as CRA mentioned, we'll bring these proposed routes and alignments to Miami-Dade County. They have a process that we'll have to follow to get their approval. From there, hopefully spring, summertime, we'll get into the design and construction of some of those new stop locations, as well as stop relocations, and then looking to implement or start operation of the new alignments in summer of 2026. And that concludes the presentation.
Well, thank you, Council. Questions, comments? Councilman Roth.
Thank you. So just, I noticed that obviously the service times have gone up with the additions to all the new stops and everything like that. How many buses run each of these routes? Is it one bus on each route?
So currently, we only have one bus per route. What we are trying to apply for grants in order to be able to double the number of buses we have. We recently received one from the DOT that will become available after their fiscal year begins on July 1st, which will allow us to purchase an additional 2 trolleys. In addition, we received the grant from the DOT as well. We got 2 this year that would allow us to double the operational funds that we have for a period of, I believe, 3 years. And the way that we will, because of the long lead times that we have for the buses and the trolley purchases, we would have to also supplement it in a way that allows us to lease the buses or whatever from our vendor, LSF.
And how do we track ridership?
So currently the way that we track ridership is via pen and paper by the operator, and that is not something that we wanted to continue. So we put out an ITV for the purchase and installation of automatic passenger counters, APCs, and they are set to be installed any given day because the ITV went through the solicitation process. We selected the vendor, we went through the procurement process, etc., and now it's just a matter of them getting installed. I think in a week or 2 they should be installed, depending on the holiday schedule.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that it's important that during the transition that we maintain the signs that we currently have, even if it's something simple to replace the peeling, faded look, at least in the major locations that get the most visuals, until this is approved and set in, and then you could put in your new signage if you're going to have any. But staff during the briefings had reassured me that they would be looking into that, but if there were any questions or main focus points, I wanted to hear from the colleagues on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Councilman Fletcher?
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Cairo, I wasn't able to see you in my briefing today, but a question just kind of popped in my mind, kind of on the lines of Councilman Roth. So if ridership is determined to be lower than expected and we sign a long-term lease on new buses, do we have the capability of terminating that lease early if we don't need the additional buses? I hope we need the additional buses, but I don't want the the cost to be there if we're not utilizing them.
Agreed. That is one of the benefits of the grant that we received from the DOT, that it allows us to do this for 3 years, and by way of having better service and better facilities and what they call last mile connectivity and infrastructure, we are going to be installing, and we're coordinating with vendors to see how we can have more shelters. So if you build it, they shall come type of mentality. If you make the service good enough and promote it well enough, then the hope is that it will succeed. And by way of the APCs, the automatic passenger, we will have a much better idea of what ridership is. Because right now we depend on someone to write down how many get in. We don't know how many get off. We don't know which stop. It's not as good as what the data that we're going to be collecting now.
So again, my question is, if we find out the data shows that the ridership is not there, do we have the capability of terminating the lease and not pay for those buses? Again,
yeah,
with the hope.
we would do that. Yeah.
If not, we're going to be like the county. We might as well utilize their model for the BRT.
Yeah, that would be a determination with
thank you very much.
administration, yeah, and with council, obviously.
So, Cairo, just for clarification purposes, trolley services are primarily funded by PTP funds.
Currently, they're only funded by PTP funds.
So the challenge you're going to have, PTP requires you to do this. And that's why you go to other cities, majority of the trolleys are running what they call code. You open a trolley, there are like 5 people sitting inside there because you are required to maintain the services using your PTP, a certain percentage of your PTP funds. So you cannot willy-nilly cancel the contract and walk away with the PTP money.
At least 20%.
I just want to caution us to be careful.
I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm suggesting that we save, because PTP money is ultimately taxpayer money from somewhere.
Yes, that's correct. And also the fact that this is a pilot. That's why you're using grant monies, not PTP monies, grant money for the first 3 years as your pilot. When that comes, we feel the city feels that we're not getting the big bulk, the big bang or the buck. You can scale back the frequency of your trolley services. Instead of running every 30 minutes, you can start running every 1 hour. In order to maintain service, there are many underserved communities that need transportation. People that need to go see their doctor, they don't have cars. They require free transportation, and that's what this is.
Yeah, at least 20% of the PTP funds, whatever it is, $1 or $4 million, you have to spend it on transit. That's part of the statute that they created for the CITT, when they created the CITT, the Citizen Independent Transportation Trust.
Okay. So, is that it? Councilwoman, anything? Okay. So, we talked about doubling the buses. So they wouldn't be following each other on the route. They'd be running in opposite directions.
They do follow the route alignment.
No, in the future, when you double.
Yeah, they will follow the same route alignment in the same direction, but what they'll be doing is being staggered so that it's half the time for the cycle to happen. Okay,
because one thing I thought about, early in the presentation, you had a map and you mentioned the Walmart marketplace. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's kind of in the middle or in the first quarter of a route. So if you ride from the west side of Homestead to the Walmart marketplace on 15th Street, and when you're ready to go home, you have to go all the way around the rest of the route to go back home rather than go in the opposite direction. That's why I ask about the counter-rotating buses on each route. Are we prohibited from doing that?
We are not. It would be a different route because, as Corinne mentioned, the routes take into account the right turn movements, the left turn movements, whether we use a signal intersection or not to make it safer. And typically, the routes run in one direction. So if you notice the ones from DT, they run in one direction and then they go back around. So that is something that we can adjust in the future, but that would be a different route that we would have to take to
looking at the cycle times. It may take you 15 minutes to get to the Walmart grocery store and an hour to get back home, kind of like the BRT time. It's nothing that entices you to use it if you don't have to. And
If
we
you don't
want to
have
entice
yeah.
folks who don't have to use it to use it.
Correct. That would be a different route that we would have to establish and then get approval for and whatnot.
Well, I'm talking about the same path, just in an opposite direction.
We can
And I know
ask
that
the
means
county.
left-hand
Yeah, we
rather
can
than
ask the
right-hand
county
turns,
for
but.
clarification.
Yeah, real quick though, let me get out in the weeds though and talk about your signage. Ultimately, we've adopted a style of signage with new colors, new city logos. We need to be sure that we adopt that here with these. And I've never been a fan of the colors on our trolleys anyway. And if we're gonna really think big picture branding, let's talk about new wraps for our trolley fleet that reflect our signage and our color palette that we have adopted. Big picture.
Mr. Mayor, Council, we, as a part of that resolution where we adopted the new color palette, the circular logo as an option, as well as the conceptual design for the gateway wayfinding, we also adopted a conceptual design for the trolley stops. In fact, earlier today, we had a discussion with a potential consultant who did the work for us at no cost, and they're putting together a more comprehensive scope of work that we will ultimately present to the manager and then eventually make its way to council for, really looking at the technical materials, colors, the mock-ups as you have requested prior to any fabrication and ultimately installation.
Very good, thank you. Councilwoman, you had a piggyback comment, I think?
Yes, just on his recommendation to having the opposite routes, which I highly agree with. Can we just include that now, currently, with this plan for like pre-approval? I know we don't have the funds for the 3 other trolleys, but can we just have the routes already approved? Correct.
Yeah, I'm sure we can accommodate that in the submittal to the county. We can do that.
Because
Yeah.
exactly, because that essentially would eliminate this process all over again, right?
Yeah.
Staff time, money, consultants, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thought to your thought. It may take them 15 minutes to get to the Walmart on their route, but that bus ain't coming around for another hour and 25 minutes.
That's right.
So,
and then another hour to go back home.
And then however long it takes them to get back home. So that 15-minute trip turns into maybe a 2-hour trip for them. So I don't know what the answer is. If sending them in opposite directions is the way to do it, I don't understand what the difference is between making a left-hand turn and a right-hand turn at an intersection, except for maybe some safety issues. I know we took into account the safety issue of making a U-turn on 137 Avenue, but taking that trolley all the way to the Publix so they can go into the Publix, navigate through there, and then come back out safely and head back south on 137. So there's a lot more improvements that can be made, but I think ridership is the key to what the budget could be for us in the future to this program. So that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so you need us to adopt. Is this on the agenda to be adopted? Pardon? Yeah, we're going to add the future potentially counter-rotating routes. Mr. Manager, your mic's on. Anything to add?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Yes.
To approve the.
With our.
Correct, with the additional route.
Request, yeah.
And just to ask before I forget, can we use these trolleys currently for the rodeo that's coming up to help transport people? Last year, there was a lot of walking, so let's just consider that. And then also for the air show. That's a great. As well, so. No, we don't need to deliberate now.
Can't go outside the city, but, yeah. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to adopt as amended, the trolley routes. Is there any public comment? Yeah, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Mayor, we have one online?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, online?
Ramiro?
Yes, Mayor, can you hear me?
We can, yes, thank you.
All right, excellent. Now for because, you know, I'm not as advanced as city manager Sealer over there. So the PTP, you're talking about the line item People's Transportation Plan?
That's correct, sir.
Oh, excellent. So is this going to be adopted with the 2025 budget or the 2026 budget?
The item we have before us today is not about money. It's about a plan for implementation that requires Miami-Dade County to approve it. Section 2.
Okay, no. All right, perfect. No, and that's awesome. But since you did bring up the PTP, I just had the question: what exactly does that cover? Because all I'm hearing is trolleys, and I'm assuming the Teslas. But last year they got 9.8 million, and this year you're allotted for 11 million. What exactly does that cover?
I'm not aware of the information you're sharing tonight, sir.
Oh, it's on your budget. It's on the line item that says People's Transportation Plan in 2025. It was 9.8 million.
Oh, that's not.
And then for 2026, it has 7.5 million.
So that's not about Tesla. The PTP monies are usually meant for transportation in general, and is carved out in different percentages to what use you can put it to. For public transit, it's 20%. You have some for roadways, which we'll also use for roadway reconstruction and expansion. The PTP will conduct an audit to make sure that you are spending this money as dictated in the policy. And there have been instances of cities that have been made to refund money that was spent several years back, up to 10 years. So that's why we have to be very careful. If you don't want to spend it on transit, they require you to return the money, that 20%.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. And thank you for explaining that. But just one more question after you. Does the PTP plan cover any employee expenses for transportation, like, say, city cars?
City vehicles, not that I'm aware of. Sometimes it allows you to procure city pool vehicles. City pool vehicles, because they're all part of transportation. Mr. Director.
City pool
vehicles are used specifically for the purpose of maintaining or rehabbing the road. So only people that physically work on the street, like a laborer, then yes. An office, like, no.
Okay. All right, perfect. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Order. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we have now tabs 1A through 1D on the consent agenda. It's been moved. We have a second. Seconded by Councilman Fletcher. Are there any comments or questions? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Finally to the meat and potatoes of the agenda. Mr. White.
Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-590, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, I'd ask council members to disclose any ex parte communications concerning tabs 2, 3, and 4 on the quasi-judicial agenda this evening.
All the above. I think we're all in unanimity as to each of those items.
So at this time, I'd ask anyone in the audience who's wishing to speak on the quasi-judicial items to please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn by the clerk.
Do you hereby swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
So, Mayor, tabs 2, 3, and 4 were deferred from your last council meeting, and they're all related items. Tab 2 is a site plan application, tab 3 is a tentative plat, tab 4 is a special exception. I can introduce each one of those items. You can have a collective public hearing discussion and then take a vote separately.
Let's proceed in that manner. Thank you.
So tab 2, card number 4824, is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval as requested by Kingman 328 LLC for the development of a neighborhood services retail center, including 2 freestanding buildings consisting of 2,400 square feet and 3,859 square feet of neighborhood services retail or restaurant uses, a 10,000 square foot neighborhood services retail building, and a gas station consisting of 4,853 square foot convenience store with 6 gas pumps and an ancillary car wash on an approximately 4.102 acre parcel of land, generally located at 888 Southeast 28th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date. Tab 3 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting tentative plat approval as requested by Kingman 328 LLC for the subdivision of property into 4 tracts of for the subdivision of 4 tracts for the development of a neighborhood services retail center, including 2 freestanding buildings consisting of 2,400 square feet and 3,859 square feet of neighborhood services retail restaurant uses, 10,000 square foot retail building, gas station consisting of 4,853 square feet of convenience store with 6 gas pumps and an ancillary car wash on approximately 4.102 acre parcel of land, generally located at 888 Southeast 28th Avenue, is legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And finally, tab 4, card number 4826, is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception as requested by Kingman to permit a gas station use with the development of a neighborhood retail service center. That would be for the convenience store with the 6 ancillary gas pumps located at 888 Southeast 28th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez, if you'd introduce yourself for the record and pick up where we left off last month.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Good evening. Javi Vasquez, law offices at 600 Brickwell Avenue, here on behalf of Kingston 328 LLC. As the city attorney mentioned, this was deferred at your meeting of November 19th. Joining me tonight are Mr. Richard Sanchez from the ownership team, Mr. Carlos Cardoso, who you will hear from shortly. He's our architect, and he'll give you a brief presentation of the proposed development. Mr. Andre Martinez, our civil engineer, and Mr. Joaquin Vargas, our traffic consultant. You know the property. It's the southwest corner of 328th Street, or Southeast 8th Street, and Southwest 152 Avenue, or Kingsman Road. Kingston 328 is proposing a small neighborhood center consisting of 10,000, a small neighborhood center consisting of 1 10,000 square foot retail building and 2 smaller retail building slash restaurants, one consisting of 2,400 square feet, the other 3,859. The city attorney just read the item into the record, and as you know, there are 3 items before you tonight, which is the site plan approval, the special exception, and the T-plat, the tentative plat. And in keeping with what the city attorney presented, I am presenting this as one presentation for all 3 items. The 3 applications do come before you with a recommendation of approval from your professional planning staff, with conditions, all of which we are in agreement with. And we're also happy to report that as much as we know, there is no opposition to this application. Just a little bit of a deeper dive on the 3 requests. The special exception is a technical requirement triggered by the fact that the proposed gas station use is not specifically named in the list of uses allowed in the Villages of Homestead master plan. I would like to highlight what I believe to be the consensus feeling that there's a significant need for a gasoline station in this area, and the proposed neighborhood center we are very proud of, as you will see, and I think as most of you, if not all of you, have seen in your kits, and I know that you've been briefed by your staff as well. I mentioned that we are in agreement with the conditions. I would like to mention, highlight a couple. One has to do with the fact that the gas station gas price advertisements will be posted on monument signs no taller than 5 feet. I also mentioned last time, and I'll just reiterate real quickly now, that some of the services that we typically see in convenience stores, such as propane tanks dispensing, ATMs, mailboxes, sometimes get cluttered on the outside of the store, and one of the conditions requires us to provide those services from inside the building, even if there's a door or a window to the outside for the public. And the other one that's very significant that I want to highlight tonight is the fact that the uses of the commercial buildings in the rest of the site will be limited to what has been described as lively businesses that will contribute to the character and local flavor of the site, which means prohibiting and restricting medical uses and clinics, dental offices, adult and child daycares, and other non-compatible uses have all been specifically prohibited by condition, and we are also in agreement with that. At this point, I'd like to ask Mr. Carlos Cardoso to come forward and give you a brief presentation of the application. I think this is where we kind of broke up last time, and we're happy to continue at this point. And after that, there will not be much more. So I know we're limited in time, and we're very happy to leave more for question and answers.
It always seems late.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. My name is Carlos Cardoso. I'm the Vice President of Architecture for Design Tech International, located at 14125 Northwest 80th Avenue in Miami Lakes, Florida. I'd like to thank everybody here for the opportunity to come and present this exciting project. We've worked closely with staff to provide, this project, and then let me go through it as quickly as I can for you. You're looking at the overall site. It's about 4.1 acres. We've split the site up primarily into two parts. The northern half, which is closer toward, North Canal Street, will be where the gas station is located. And then the southern site, southern portion of the site will be where we have the two restaurant retail services and the 10,000 square foot retail service building. Going back really quick, we have 3 entrances on this site. All of them are right turn exits only. You have one on North Canal Street, on the northwest side of the property, and you'll see on the southeast side of the property, you have the exit only onto Southeast 28th Avenue, and then you have one more right turn only exiting from South Canal Street side. The idea here was we were working with staff to provide a neighborhood feel. So the push here was to have a neighborhood-friendly concept that allowed for pedestrian access. You can see the paths shown in the yellow form. These are areas that for pedestrian use. You have, we worked with staff to provide a much larger sidewalk path along the front, along all the streets. We're using about 10 feet of sidewalk that promotes more traffic, more pedestrian traffic. And then, as you can see, there's different areas, connectivity throughout the entire site, so that it becomes pedestrian friendly that way. An overview of the site. This is, as you can see, there is planning to be a lot of landscaping in the area, also to promote that pedestrian feel. We're using a more contemporary use or contemporary aesthetics. The idea here is to bring in a lot more glass to open up the services to the public, more visibility, as well as easy access from both front and back of the buildings. We are using to enhance that neighborhood feel, the uses of wood and stone, the more natural elements to help tie that. And I'll go through some of these images so you can see what the buildings are looking like. This is one of the possible restaurant retail locations. You can see the second one in the back, which is the smaller of the two. We're planning on putting in some park areas and so forth, and some bench seating as well, so that to also enhance that feel. We're showing the pedestrian paths throughout. These are the sidewalks that I was talking about. It's a lot more open, a lot more friendlier for people to walk throughout. We are using pavers along certain areas just to enhance that feel of, the residential feel. This is the 10,000 square foot retail building. We're looking at different services that we can be providing there. So again, the use of stone and wood as well as metal to enhance the glazing, to give it that open feel. Again, frontages on both sides, the front and the back, so that you can access from the street or from the parking area. And then we have the convenience store. This is the convenience store on North Canal Street. This is the convenience store for the gas station. We, again, using the same feel with the stone and wood and metal feel. Playing with the aesthetics there, as well as the ridges on the roof to give it that more residential feel. And we did the same thing with the canopy in the back. These are, the other areas, the pump station in the back, also with the, slanted roofs and so forth to work with the neighborhood feel that we're going for. And yes, we do have a car wash there. There is a condition on the limited use on hours, which we've agreed to. And that pretty much wraps up my presentation. We're here to answer any questions that you have, and look forward to working on this project. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Councilman Fletcher, it's your district. Would you like to kick off the conversation?
Mayor, if I could just wrap up.
Sure.
Very, very quickly. In closing, Mayor, real quickly, and I think we've kind of touched on all three applications and the conditions, which we agree to all of them. We're very proud of this development. I applaud Carlos and his team for a beautiful development, and as I did last time, I'd like to just recognize your staff. It's been a pleasure to work with Deborah. It's been a pleasure to work with your manager, and Brooke also behind the scenes. So with that, we will respectfully close and reiterate that this comes before you with a recommendation of approval. No objectors that we know of, and we thank you for the opportunity to present.
Appreciate it. Councilman Fletcher.
Yes, thank you, and I'm happy and excited to support this overall, but I do have a couple of quick questions. I'm going to start with Carlos first, since he was the last one presented. Based on our conversation that we had a month ago, did you incorporate the additional roof height in the gas station for potential use of boats being pulled in there for fuel?
We have spoken with the owner about that. He is aware of it. We didn't want to make any changes after our presentation had already been submitted, but we are considering and speaking with a bunch of operators that will take that into consideration.
So quickly, that doesn't impact if they need to make a small minor change for roof heights, anything we have to approve in the city? from our side.
Okay, it's only 2 more feet, so it doesn't change anything.
Okay. Secondly, on the south entrance exit on South Canal Drive, you have a right turn only arrow. Is the roadway in the center striped or is it a raised curve?
It's striped.
So that's going to be kind of hard to enforce from a policing and a public safety measure, because I know a lot of people are going to want to come out there and make that left. And I don't want to put any additional, processes on our police officers. So something to think about, maybe looking at a raised curb in that area.
I think that will need to be looked by the Public Works Department when they go for the permits, because I saw some plans that show the turns for the fire truck, so maybe if you have a curve there, that turn will not be possible, so it will be looked closely by Public Works when they apply for that permit.
Yeah, if it can be done, we'll be happy to provide it.
Okay, perfect. Initially I didn't like the architecture, but it's kind of grown on me a little bit. It kind of looks new and attentive, and I'm hoping that this comes to fruition very quickly. Thank you, Carlos, for your answers.
Your turn.
I'm happy to say I had some concerns, but had I not wanted to do the Cliff Notes version and actually went and read into the details a little bit, some of the restrictions that they've accepted are acceptable, and I can tell you that the majority of the folks in my district, and I think it's going to benefit a lot of folks throughout the city, to include the villages of Homestead and Oasis, to have this facility south of Campbell Drive. It's going to be the first one down there. Really looking forward to seeing how this progresses, and I'll leave it there for any other additional questions.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Roth.
A two-part thought. One, the color pattern that the city has is kind of obsolete, I think, at this point. I think we need to talk about that eventually. If you saw what they've painted out at the villages of Homestead, the shopping center there, it's a little different, but it's part of the approved colors for our code.
Or is it?
Well, it was, because they pulled permits. I checked with staff, and I was like, are you kidding me? But okay, it is what it is. Yeah. And then your color scheme, has it been vetted by our department so that your colors match what is required in the city of Homestead?
Yeah, I think she's best.
Yes, they match the color palette.
Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. Does Development Services have handy the American flag resolution so that you can encourage the American flag, placement of the American flag on the sites? We don't force, but we encourage. Has that been happening? Because I don't see it on the plans, or did I overlook it?
We are happy, more than happy to provide an American flag on the site at time and permit. And I've never reneged when I've said that to this council.
Thank you. So you're okay with adding it as an additional condition on a prominent placement, perhaps the corner of
Absolutely, got a thumbs
Kingman
up.
and Canal? Is that Canal? Thank you. My original concerns with this, and I expressed this to Javi, is that as of right, there is no gas station allowed. And in addition, there are no, at least as far as I know, no LOIs, no conditions for phasing, so that we're sure that we don't just end up with only a gas station. Because I could see how you could build the beautiful gas station, have a site plan that could be sold to another developer, and who knows, whenever they come back and develop it. And then perhaps they'll come back with changes and revisions at that time. So the decision tonight is, are we happy with a gas station on the corner? Now, after reviewing and identifying its location, I do believe that there's demand for it. There's no other gas station to the east of this location, am I correct?
Correct.
And then you'd have to go all the way to Campbell and divert your flow of traffic if you were planning to catch the turnpike. So I do see the demand. I mean, otherwise you have BJ's down the street, which a lot of people go to. So for those reasons, I'm going to be comfortable with approving this project. But I really would have loved to have seen some phasing. This is more for Development Services, to push for phasing within the project. agreement and then, or LOIs? I mean, or can you speak to that at this point? A month has gone by. What is the progress with the development?
Would you like me to speak on that now? So the applicant is talking to several operators on the gas station. That's imminent, but we can't disclose any names right now. And the applicant will also be immediately building the 3 buildings because the income that will be derived from those 3 buildings, and there are lots of negotiations, there are no signed LOIs, but there are many negotiations for those units, but the income, and what I'd like for you to hopefully leave here reassured, is that the income from those 3 buildings makes or breaks this deal. They can't just let this gas station be built and let that lag. Their plan is to let another operator come in and operate that. There's a couple of names that you all know. And then they are going to build and lease the units on the 3 buildings. Without that, they bankrupt the project. So there's hopefully, this will be demand driven, obviously market driven, but there's plenty of demand for them. I'm sorry,
No, and I do appreciate the additional confidence, and I know, Javi, you'll probably be representing future applicants here, so I will remember the outcome of this application for future, but we've always done well together. So I think I will be happy to second the motion if that's what you're doing. Thank you.
We don't have one yet, I don't think.
Councilman? Can I just piggyback on her thought? I mean, can we condition the final COs based on all 3 components being built and completed? I mean, if they're making it that important, that they should all be done similarly or at the same time.
I think that will get complicated for the applicant because if he sells the parcel of the gas station, they need to get a CO. If not, they cannot do the closing. So,
yeah, but we're not talking about selling a gas station off. We're talking about the ancillary products that they're offering us today. So they can say they're going to build, those 3 buildings are an important component of it, and then build this gas station, sell it, and then do nothing with the back part of that property if we don't tie everything together as one.
Maybe what you can do is put a timing that the project needs to be completed within a certain amount of time, and then if they fail to comply with that, they will need to come back again for a site plan approval. No one wants to go through the process again once you have the entitlements.
Right. Yeah, once they start the site plan's good for an initial 1-year term. They can come in and request for a 2-year extension, provided there's not some emergency declaration issued by the governor concerning a natural disaster, which would automatically toll the development order, the site plan approval for whatever the declaration is, plus an additional 24 months, right? So set that aside. But once they pull a building permit and start working, then the site plans doesn't expire. So then you're just dealing with the building permit side of things.
And Mr. Roth, if I could address your comment, please, through the mayor. I think it's in everybody's best interest for there to be a little bit of wiggle room on the exact order of development. If nothing more, each tenant will have different requirements. We're not going to be changing the facade of the building, obviously. Any changes in the facade would need to come right back to this council. But there are specifics, depending on the type of user, that allow for development to happen. There's a reason why these developments are built and built out in certain sequence and not all like at one time, because there are specific needs for specific tenants that it's in everybody's best interest, especially to make sure we get this thing filled, to allow for that flexibility. That's not going to give my client an incentive to take his time and sit on this, but it's going to allow for the best product to end up at this corner.
No, I understand it. And what I'm trying to avoid is what happened on the corner of Lucy Street, which is on this road as well, that originally it's in Florida City, on the corner where BJ's is at, that parcel was originally to be commercial, okay? They got approvals, and a year and a half later, it didn't work out for them, and now they're building townhouses on that corner. So
I'm assuming that had to come back?
that's in Florida City.
Oh, Florida City, I'm sorry.
So what I want to try to avoid is in everybody's best interest that we don't get stuck with just a gas station there.
Yeah.
So I like the gas station there. I want it there, trust me. But I still think that there needs to be some conditions and, guarantees in writing that these other buildings will be built.
Well, I'm hoping that what your city attorney mentioned about the 1-year life of the approval will give you some reassurance together with some of the comments I've made, as opposed to cornering these guys into a specific time frame. So I hope you'll support the project. I really do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think there's a solution for this, Mr. Vasquez. The gas station could be issued a TCU while the other buildings are in process for building and CO. So it would not obstruct the gas station operator from opening and operating once the gas station is built. But it would tie the final CU, like Councilman Roth is mentioning, until the other buildings are built. Could you clarify that, James and Deborah, please?
This is really a building code and Florida building code issue, but you can't just have a temporary and have them occupy this gas station and convenience store for a significant.
Yeah, it's only, the TCO is for a limited period of time. They cannot have it for 1 year. They can have it for 3 months, 6 months, no more than that.
Mr. Mayor, for me.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes, I don't want us to overcomplicate this. When I first ran for office, it was very difficult to do the business with the city of Homestead, and I hope we're trying to change that. If we're putting additional restrictions on applicants, I think we're making it too convoluted, and people are going to start going elsewhere. My thoughts, that's how I feel. I think, again, we all know this is a needed commodity in that area. I think it's going to benefit the entire community. And with that, I'll make the motion for approval as listed.
Okay, thank you.
I've been told that we've already submitted the full civil package for the entire site. So that should give you some comfort. And to the point of certain fears that may come from the example that Councilman Roth gave, that may be for the city, but I think you guys have some strong rules, like a lot of cities have, that if anybody tried to do something different, like the example you gave of wanting to go 180 degrees and do with another product, they would have to come right back here. It's not, I don't know how they did that in Florida City without having to go back to the council, but that would definitely have to come back here. But again, the fact that they've submitted their civil drawings already ready to go, hoping to get this thing approved tonight, is just evidence that there shouldn't really be these concerns.
Right, and I'm not trying to discourage any development there. What I'm trying to is encourage it so that we get exactly what is being proffered to us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Fletcher on tab 2.
Wait, if I could
Yes.
ask that we take this out of order, do the special exception first, followed by the site plan, and then the plat.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go to tab,
Tab 4.
Councilman Fletcher, is your motion with respect to tab 4? Okay. Second with respect to tab 4. So let me open public comment really quick. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this matter?
Yes, Mayor, we have one online.
Okay.
Ramiro.
Mr. Orta, go ahead.
Hello, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity again. Actually, I'm very excited for the gas station and the actual retail stores that they're proffering to us. because like Mr. Roth brought up, we had a similar situation where a builder came with residential and commercial space, and then that was Councilman Davis' last vote. When he changed that, ultimately cost him the election. We just want to make sure that we are getting what they're proffering, the retail stores, because that's what they want. They don't want the gas station. They want the retail stores. They want something there because they're tired of driving far. Now, the individual did bring up the fact that there is a demand for it, but just curious, do they know what gas station is going there? Because there's a reason there's no other gas station there. It's because BJ's is there, and BJ's is the cheapest. The last thing we need is for a gas station here that's 25 cents more than BJ's. No one goes, and then they shut it down. And then conveniently, when the stadium is built, oh look, we need townhouses there now. So we just want to make sure that we're getting what we promised, because I did this poll and they want the retail stores, not just the gas station. So if they can somehow promise that, I mean, put it in writing, it's good. But if not, then unfortunately, Councilman Davis ruined it for them. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Orta.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Fletcher.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but currently when we finish completion of the build out with the Lennar piece south of Palm Avenue, we are maxed out at our current maxed rate of houses allowed in the VOH DRI. Unless 4 or 5 people up here decide to add additional units to it. That's my current understanding. Am I correct?
Is that generally accurate, that the units approved for what we call the DRI have all been consumed?
For this sector?
No.
In total, you're correct, yes. The city has a reservation of like 300 units,
Yes.
but the rest of the residential units have all been accounted for.
There are no privately held unbuilt.
So the only way, again, to get that increased would be to come to this council and get a supermajority to increase that number. Just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
Okay. And I don't know that the fear is residential. I think the fear is that one part gets built and you've got an empty field in the rest of it. But I think there have been representations made tonight that the economics of this entire project are built upon retail. Well, we're on the special exception for tab 4. Yeah, we're not there yet. Okay, is there any further public comment? Okay, so I'll close the public hearing and let's have a roll call vote on tab 4.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Now I need a motion on...
I'm sorry, Mayor,
Yes.
just for clarification, that does include the condition the applicant agreed to with respect to an American flag displayed on the site.
Right.
Yes.
And I just wanted to mention, I appreciate the voluntary prohibitions that are built into this. I think that's very, very important. Okay, so we're going to do site plan approval for this project at tab 2. Do we have a motion? Moved by Councilman Roth, second by Councilman Cannonball. All right. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And finally, tab 3, which would be the tentative plat approval for this project. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilman Cannonball. Second by Councilman Fletcher. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Have at it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back in January, and in the meantime, I wish you a happy holiday and a very blessed and happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you
See
for
you then.
tonight's approval.
All right, moving on to, to tab 5. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 5 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Article 8 of Chapter 6 of the City Code entitled Unsafe Structures, designating the use of the Unsafe Structures Board of Miami-Dade County for all city unsafe structure cases, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Any objection to waiving the staff report? Are there any questions? Okay, any questions? Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilwoman Konski. Any public comment? Oh, go ahead. You're not the public.
I know, sorry, on tab 5, I did ask staff, and just for informational, to encourage some hearings to be done down at the 211th courthouse, to make it more affordable for the city to attend, because of these hearings are not going to be happening here, they're going to be happening all the way in Miami-Dade County downtown, okay? But if we can get it, and for the residents as well, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Open the public hearing very quickly and close it even faster. And let's have a roll call vote on tab 5.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal?
Yes.
Councilman Ross? Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 7, Mr. Pearl, it's the second reading.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budgets for each of the several funds and departments of the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, ending September 30th, 2026, by increasing the total budgeted revenues and expenditures by $23,022,895, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Thank you. Any objection to waiving the staff report on this second reading? No objection? No. Very good, thank you. Do we have a motion? Moved by Councilman Fletcher. Second by Councilman Cannibal. I'll open the public hearing and just as quickly close the public hearing. Let's have a roll call vote on tab 7.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carried.
And tab 8 was Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 8 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the budgets for each of the several funds and departments within the general fund with an overall net zero effect on the total budget of the general fund of the city for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, ending September 30th, 2025, providing for repealer, severability, and an effective date.
Any objection to waiving the staff report? We have a motion to approve. Moved by Councilman Cannibal. Second by Councilman Roth. Open the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Let's have a roll call vote on tab 8.
Councilman Fletcher?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Councilwoman Konski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannibal? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carried.
And moving on to tab 9, please, Mr. Pearl.
Yes. Tab 9 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 23, Signs and Advertising, Article 3, Signs, Division 3, Regulations, Section 23-87, Mural Approval Process, to update and further clarify the review and approval standards and procedures for murals, providing for conflicts, for providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Any objection to waiving the staff report?
Yeah.
Very good. So it's been moved and seconded, but we've got a waiver in the middle here.
As the clerk passes around an amendment for consideration to include in the resolution, the addition of what I commonly call the hospital corridor in District 5 in my district. The verbiage is laid out for you in the amendment. Vice Mayor Bailey voiced her blessing on this addition, and it is very specific as to where the properties would be located to allow for these murals.
Appears that the proposed amendment is in the red print, starting on page 4.
So essentially, it is the geographic area, including portions of 312th Street, which is Campbell Drive, and properties adjacent to Campbell Drive, running between the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, western boundary, and the Miami-Dade County Urban Development, the UDB south of 312th Street, and southwest 142nd Avenue is the eastern boundary. So Campbell Drive between 142nd and And the Turnpike. Yeah.
So let me ask a question here. And placement and location, subparagraph, I guess B2. Would that mean that murals would be permitted on the fronts of buildings?
Facing Campbell Drive, yes.
Facing Campbell Drive. So this is a pretty significant deviation from what we currently allow, which is on the sides or the rear of building. This could potentially be on the front facing, the street facing portion of a building.
Correct, on commercial. And this is with consideration of the downtown having historic relevance and distinction. I recognize the importance of having the murals being specific to off Chrome Avenue placement versus on Campbell Drive. There aren't many side streets you can go down unless you're going onto a specific property to visit the restaurants or retail.
Is there a proposed project behind this?
Not necessarily. I'm not aware of one in the pipeline, but I didn't want to exclude it from this opportunity and be able to capture some additional art in District 5.
I appreciate that. Personally, I am not a fan of 100% coverage on the front of a building on that kind of main corridor, which would be facing Campbell. That would be my concern. You know, we've got some pretty hefty buildings. You know, those are more, larger, big box type buildings in the future. I mean, I don't think we would have necessarily the franchise type buildings have that. So that would be my initial concern, that it would permit on the frontage of a building on Campbell in that corridor. Anybody else? Wait a minute, we lost one.
I'm just trying to visualize who would put a mural on the front side of their building in that little area. I just can't. I'm visualizing all the little stores that are already there.
There's unbuilt property on the corner by the racetrack and Campbell Drive, so there's potential there where there's opportunity to help curate something. And
this goes from east of the Turnpike out to 137th Avenue. Well, the UDB, wherever that is.
Right, but we cut it off at 142.
Yeah.
Properties running between the extension of the Turnpike and the Miami-Dade County Urban Development boundary line.
Which is Southwest 312 and 142 Avenue.
142.
Yeah.
Trying to visualize 142. Is
thought-
that the undeveloped, is that like the Sweezy property?
Is that the one that comes out right at Waterstone?
Or just west of Waterstone?
And that's another property that has opportunity to curate some art as part of their, development.
But there's nothing there right now, right?
No, but it could come, and this would allow them to do the mural.
So in calling it a pilot program, is there a sunset on this, or we're sticking our toes in the water in this corridor for perhaps future expansion? What do you call it, a pilot program?
I think the
Midtown
verbiage of
mural.
pilot was already part of the original.
Oh, because in E, you're on page 4, it says the Midtown Mural Pilot Program. The pilot program,
Yeah, the reso was prepared as pilot prior to the addition of the Midtown, correct,
Okay.
James?
Yeah, and at your direction from first reading, we created the Maui Mural Pilot Program on the Maui Drive corridor, which allows for to take advantage of the 100%
Gotcha.
larger murals.
Yep.
And so in line with that, this is likewise this corridor would allow you to take advantage of the larger mural format.
Okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, to answer your question on pilot sunset dates, there is provision in subsection section 2387A that says mural permits are granted by the city and valid for the initial 2-year period with an additional 2 years extension, so 4 years.
Okay. Thank you for that catch. Okay.
Thank you, and I'd be happy to hear if there's any corridors in the other districts around the city that would like to be included, if not for tonight, to bring it back later without opposition from me.
Yeah. So any thoughts on the expansion onto Campbell? I don't know if you were here, Councilman Fletcher. My concern was that this allows 100% coverage on the fronts of buildings facing Campbell.
So I understand your concern, but also I think that the front of a building is going to be more of a glass type opening rather than a picture. I would think the side of the building might be more advantageous as you're driving east or west.
Yeah, but this would allow the front, including glazing.
And can we limit and just say the side of the buildings rather than allow the front?
Well, right now, the way the code reads is you can do a mural
anywhere.
So between first and
Well,
second.
that's not what was discussed last week, because I confirmed, I thought on the record, that there would be no murals facing Chrome.
Right, well, I was going to.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay, gotcha.
Between first and second reading, I added that provision that facing there would be no murals allowed facing Chrome Avenue.
Facing Chrome, okay.
So in the downtown, Councilman Fletcher, you have more opportunities to go east and west and enjoy those murals that will be on the side streets. On this corridor, you really only go east and west on Campbell Drive. And so if you have the murals on sides of buildings, unless you're visiting that particular site, you won't enjoy the art. So it's a pilot program. If we aren't happy with the mural, we would be able to authorize them to remove it after the expiration of the mural.
The way this is set up is that we had no process in place for murals. So between first and second reading with staff, we added a mural permit application criteria process. And the way it would work is someone would come in, they would have to apply pursuant to that mural permit application. Staff would do the initial intake evaluation, then bring it to you all for approval and for consideration and approval of that proposed mural. So it comes back to you for your review.
And Mayor, I'm not sure if you can show me where it shows the windows and the glass?
Well, it says 100%.
But
100% of the facade, which includes windows.
So, okay.
Implicitly, it would include that.
Okay, because I do see where it's specific on where it states maybe proposed on the building facade, surface or exterior walls. And then it says blank walls. So I saw that as a specificity on the glass. But I see your point. I wouldn't want to exclude it right now because I think I'd like to kind of see what would be proffered.
And I would think code wouldn't allow them to cover up the windows for safety reasons, right? So they would only be able to go inside the windows, above the windows, and around them, because we have a code that says you can't cover more than 20 or 30% of the window for officer safety reasons and public safety reasons. So you couldn't actually do that, I don't think, the mural part. I'm okay with.
Don't get me started on window decals.
No, listen, I'm with you on those.
That's another conversation, Crystal.
Yeah. She's not in code well, maybe.
Yeah, it's under her. That's her branch of the division.
There you go, so. But anyways, yeah.
Okay.
I don't see an issue. It's got to come back for us for approval anyway.
What's that?
The mural would have to come back for us for approval.
Right. So first, I guess we need to have a vote on the proposed amendment. Is that or just, or add it to the motion? Which procedure, Mr. Pearl?
I'll take a motion to amend and then an approve as amended.
Okay.
Okay, so I made the motion
To
on
amend.
behalf of Vice Mayor Bailey to move this forward. Now we're going to add with the amendments proffered by Councilwoman Avila.
So, but we didn't have a second on yours, so
Right.
nothing can
Yeah, we
move
did.
forward yet. Oh, you had second?
You say second, yeah. So it's moved and seconded as amended for the Midtown
Right.
corridor.
So now we have a motion to approve it as with the inclusion of the amended text.
Right.
Okay.
On behalf of Vice Mayor Bailey,
Okay.
for the record.
So you vote yes for her and no for yourself? Did she leave you her proxy? Okay. All right, so is there anyone wishing to speak to this matter? Okay, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Cannonball?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Konsky?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Reluctantly.
The motion carries.
Okay, so let's real quick have a motion to extend the meeting from 8:30 to 9 PM. Moved. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second, or we can just go home now. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any
Mayor,
opposed?
if I could, before we leave this item, the way the language is drafted, it says the mural permit application fee approved by council. And so we just need some direction from you all. Staff's done some initial review of what that application permit fee might look like. Currently, we have a resolution that has a fee permit, and there are different amounts in there. There's an unspecified public hearing amount, right?
There is a fee that says public hearing, not listed herein, and it's $650. And then there is another one that could be applicable, that is miscellaneous applications requiring inspections. And that is $250.
All right, so the designation of the 250 for mural is the motion and the second. Any public comment? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Now can we move on to tab 10?
Tab 10 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee report, authorizing transmittal of the report to Florida Housing Finance Corporation, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Good. Second reading. Any objection to waiving the staff report? All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other question or comment from council? Any public comment? I'll open the public hearing and close the public hearing. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Konsky? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving right along to tab 11, Mr. Pearl.
Tab 11 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances by creating Section 28-240, meter tampering, prohibiting the unauthorized access of city electric meters and establishing classifications of violations and corresponding penalties, amending Section 28-320, electrical line extension policy and procedure to remove conflicting provisions, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, any objection to waiving the staff report? Okay, moved by Councilman Fletcher. Do we have a second? Second by Councilwoman Avila. Any comments from council? Okay, hearing none. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote on second reading, or tab 11, first reading.
Councilwoman Avila? Councilman Roth? Councilwoman Konsky? Councilman Cannonball? Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, that concludes the majority of the agenda. Mr. Manager, any further business from your office?
Just a point of information that tomorrow, Miami-Dade County will be here in City Hall for the normal monthly one-stop concierge permit assistance program for our city residents and businesses that want to transact business with the county with respect to the CU, the BTR, and building permit questions. And also, the City Hall chambers will be upgrading the video infrastructure in the city chambers starting from Friday, December 19th, hoping to complete the work by next week on December 23rd. More importantly, for my colleagues, city staff, city offices are scheduled to be closed on Christmas Day, December 25th, and the day after, which is 26th. To enable our city employees to have time with their family members. However, city parks will close early on the 24th of December by 5 p.m. and will remain closed on Christmas Day, as well as solid waste. Both services and departments will resume on the 26th to provide services, regular scheduled services for city residents. Earlier today, we circulated a memo with an updated schedule for the ice rink for skating sessions. It was shared with council today, just to advise that there are some minor adjustment in scheduling. And I had also circulated a couple of memos earlier in the week, which I hope and expect that council would have read them. And we're hoping to have Miami-Dade County League of Cities here in the city for the first time to have their regular monthly meetings. That will be in January. They'll want to start the new year by coming to Homestead for their regular meetings. I encourage all council members to be here. I believe it's January 14th. January 14th, hoping to host them at the Miami-Dade College on the 4th floor. As well, the next day, Miami-Dade County Charter Review Committee will be having their first meeting in the new year, also in the city of Homestead. So we're trying to attract the county to start coming down south to experience the challenges that we do when we go up north. I think that's what I have for now. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Attorney.
No business, just wanted to wish everybody a very happy holiday and New Year. And I hope
Thank you,
enjoy
sir.
it.
Another year already. Okay. Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to just make a recommendation for our strategic plan online to reflect the current council. It's currently not reflecting Councilwoman Kimberly Konsky. And I did want to request through the city manager's office an in-depth budget review for our parks department and our police department online. And in the packets that I could find, they're numbers only. They're kind of aggregate, and I'd like to have a more in-depth review, please. And there was a complaint, or multiple complaints regarding noise, the noise ordinance with these mufflers, these young kids in their racing trends. Can you speak a little bit about what the trends are in Homestead and what we're doing to try to divert and control that noise? Thank you.
I'm actually not familiar with any of these complaints. I haven't seen any of them. It's the first I hear of it. But we will monitor it if you have them, if you can forward them to me.
So the PD is not, they haven't made any stops or anything? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. And I would like to request a meeting with, for staff to work with the Parks Director and the Children's Trust on the Zero Drowning Miami-Dade Initiative to consider also utilizing Roby George's pool. I believe it is a heated pool. We met this group at the Miami-Dade League of Cities event, and I was really happy to hear that they offer transportation for children to come to the pool and get their swimming lessons, which I don't believe we have as part of our current programming for swimming lessons. And also the Boys and Girls Club has been reaching out and circulating a proposal. I'm not sure if that has been sent to all yet, but I did recommend that they before they come to do any presentations here, they need to know what's going on with the gym and who's using the gym and what organizations have to be kept in consideration when they do eventually come forward with a proposal. So I don't know if that's already been facilitated, but please, if you can do that. And other than that, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, Happy Three Kings Day, Happy Hanukkah. Thank you all for what you've done throughout the year and making the city of Homestead very bright and cheery this holiday season. And with adding that later skating session was very needed. Thank you.
Real quick, Councilwoman, when I met with the Boys and Girls Club, my inquiry was, to what extent, what buildings? And my understanding was they weren't interested in the gym part. It was just the other half of the Leigh Hardin building. That was my takeaway. So, yeah, because that's a concern to accommodate them. Councilman Fletcher.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. We all know the reason for the season, I hope. Thanks the city staff for everything you've done so far this year. I can tell the audio is much better in here this evening. However, with all the efficiency studies and the strategic plans, I still feel like I'm in a disco with that one light that is back again after 3 months.
Yeah, I think he was looking at you earlier on and decided to blink. We'll take a look at that. I saw that earlier.
Thank you very much. I did ask somebody who was viewing online, and they said they can't see it on the stream, but it's definitely distracting, especially off the rims of your glasses. Saturday evening, everybody's been invited. Everybody has contributed, but I know we have our the Keys Gate Holiday Parade. I know some aren't able to attend, but those that are, vehicles are being provided, and I look to have it's a pretty long afternoon, but it's a good time. So that'll be between 4 and, they say 7:30 completion. I say 8:30, but it should be a fun time, and you get to see a lot of folks out in the Keys Gate neighborhood. So I'm welcome on behalf of the Keys Gate Community Association.
And a lot of neat decorations.
A lot of neat decorations.
Any flavor you want to see.
And the disco
yeah.
truck and the Santa. So it's a good time. So looking forward to see everybody there on Saturday. And again, Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Fletcher. Councilman Roth?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one point of business. I was contacted today by staff to begin scheduling workshops for the new year. And one thing I've been asking for many months now is the amount of monies that are owed to the city of Homestead through bad utility bills. Haven't gotten that answer in several months. And I'm a little concerned that we're owed lots of money. Nobody's paying attention to it, and we're not even trying to collect it. So can I get a figure by the COW meeting next year with a plan of action of what is happening now in order to retrieve these funds? And it's not going to be 500,000. I'm sure it's in the millions. And what efforts are being made to collect this money before I commit to any other workshops, because these workshops are costing us money, but we have all this money out there that we can be collecting. But on a happier note, I wish you all a happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy New Year. Chief, tell all the police officers that are working through the holidays that we love them, respect them, and to be safe out there. I know it's challenging when they have to work and their families are at home celebrating, so our thoughts are with them always. Everybody have a blessed New Year, and if you can, make someone smile during the holidays, pay it forward, and take a little initiative to just make somebody a little bit happier. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Councilman Roth, one of the workshops is to address revenue challenges of the city, including new sources of revenue. I had tasked Assistant City Manager Crystal. She has prepared the presentation for that workshop to deal with all the utility billings, the outstanding, and what actions we propose to take, and actions we've already taken, and how much money we've collected so far in terms of enhancements in collection. So you get all that information. That what we can do based on today's request is to give the council advanced copies of the report prior to the workshop.
Right. So and that goes to one of the items we spoke about earlier this evening, right? giving us the information so that we understand. When they asked me to commit to a workshop that's revenue generation opportunity, has nothing to do with what the city's owed for the utilities that I've been asking for several months now. So it could be clearer that maybe that was part of that meeting, and I wouldn't have even had to say anything tonight. So I hadn't heard anything. Nobody called and reached out to me about that thing that I've been concerned with for many, many months, and had no responses to that. So with that said, again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone.
Councilwoman Konski?
I say thank you for welcoming me in for 2025. I look forward to working with you all in 2026. And I say the same, Merry Christmas. Remember the reason for the season, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Council Kimball?
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Feliz Navidad y próspero año nuevo. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, so I promised earlier in the evening that I would bring you up to date to the extent I know about it as to some efforts to reconstitute the Homestead Rodeo Parade. So, a little bit of history. We know that the last Homestead Rodeo Parade was in 2019. I think my perception is pretty accurate that several things came together. Rodeo Association realized it really didn't have the manpower and the woman power to put on those two events the same morning. It's spreading the workforce thin between the parade and the actual rodeo. The cost of insurance, police coverage, off-duty coverage, and finally, dramatically declining attendance. And they made the decision that that was just no longer viable to do. So fast forward, a couple of weeks ago, a document came across my desk, and believe it or not, the mayor and the police chief have to sign off on temporary road closures. Typically it's the parade route or Chrome Avenue when other folks do events, not our own in-house events. So I asked the chief through the manager, to get the numbers together as to, what the police coverage may be, what historically it was, and ask the Keysgate High principal and the activities director, who's spearheading this, to come in and sit down. I wanted to make sure that they fully understood the background as to why there was no longer a parade, and have a clear understanding of what those costs were. So they came in earlier this week. We had about an hour-long meeting based upon what the Veterans Day parade coverage was, with 26 officers. And think about the number of intersections that have to be closed. Got an officer on either side of Chrome, and parks barricades closing those intersections. So it took about 26 officers, and I think the off-duty charges for the Veterans Day parade, $7,700
For Veterans Day, $77.85 and 15 cents.
Yeah, almost $7,800. So they are fully aware of that. So the chief and I signed off on the road closure, which now gives them the comfort to go out and continue to obtain sponsorships for the parade. And they believe that between their students and the parents of their students, they have an adequate workforce to produce a parade. Obviously, for reasons I think all of us know, the city cannot directly help offset those costs. Certainly, we can allocate funds from our discretionary accounts to become sponsors of the parade. They're going out into the public. Certainly, the city's social media as well as our individuals' social media can help promote this. They were also very candid that if they didn't see it coming together, it wouldn't happen. But at this point, from the city side of the table, we've done what we need to do to help them move forward and producing that parade independent of the Rodeo Association. So I think that was really good news, and I want to thank them for their efforts and can-do attitude there. But the numbers were just, and they are what they are. I think the numbers from 2019 were about half of that $7,800. That's just a reflection of our contracts as they have evolved. Beyond that, I want to thank everybody who has, from city staff, who's been out at the park and the skating rink and done these different theme nights. And I'll call out Camilla specifically. She seems to always be there on the ground on her weekends, and really appreciate that. And I'll tell you, the Deco Drive thing was a last minute thing. Well, the week prior, Councilman Roth, they came down, and you and I were already over preparing for the Rotary dinner, and that's why the vice mayor went. And at the last minute, they called and wanted to come down, and looking for the figurehead to do that. But my ultimate point is that I went to a meeting that the county mayor called earlier this week to talk about these potential budget impacts that these potential state constitutional amendments will have on municipalities in the county. And we'll have those conversations, and that's something not to stick our heads in the sand over. But my point is that a handful of mayors and managers went out of their way to compliment us and make inquiry about our entire winter wonderland. It wasn't just the skating rink, but Deco Drive showcased the programming and really cast us in a positive light. I think the last numbers that Kamara provided to me, maybe 3,300 folks have skated thus far, and other tickets have been purchased as, for future dates. So I think by any measure, we call that a success. Maybe not a financial success, but a success in terms of tradition, legacy, things to do, family fun, creating memories. So with that, at this late hour, I will add.
Real quick, Mayor, just let me add. The parade portion.
Yes.
There is money budgeted for their parade in our budget to the tune of $3,300 that has been allocated, similar to what we do for the Veterans Day Parade. So they may or may not be aware of that, which will help them get to their goal.
Did we in fact do that, since it's been a dormant parade? I know we did veterans and other things. I don't recall that. But
yeah, Carlos is.
I hope you're right.
No.
It's too much.
Good evening. Yes, for the rodeo parade, there's about 3,300. I don't know the exact amount, but it was set aside to cover some of the fees, right?
Okay. So even though that was dormant, we carried that forward, and I appreciate hearing that, and and I know they mentioned you've been working with them, Councilman.
Yeah, I've met with them a few times, and they, it's the theme of Fletcher. It's so hard to do business with the city of Homestead, but and I truly believe we need a liaison to help some of these people that want to do good things in the city navigate through some of these challenges. And I'm not sure that just by you and the chief signing off on road closures for Chrome Avenue, that they don't have to go to the Department of the FDOT to close portions of Campbell Drive to US 1 down. So that's a different jurisdiction.
They seem to be on board. They knew about their parade permits and insurance requirements, and seemed to have all of that handled and at a comfort level, that there were no complaints about the city side, and they understood those other issues. So they've, pardon the pun, they've done their homework at Keysgate High.
Great.
Yeah. Clicker for the busway for the parade. Yeah. So with that, I'll extend my season's greetings and look forward to a very productive year next year and a lot of workshops in January. Old revenue, new never revenue, old city hall, whatever we need to deal with. So if that's it, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn our final meeting for this 2025. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Good night. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, Clemente.